Sport.
We begin this broadcast by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this match will be played today and pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples listening.
AFL. What a stage. This game is coming to life.
The 2023 AFL Premiership season.
The roar will tell you the story. Fans are on their feet.
This game is electric.
Holds his arms out wide and tells them to get excited. Oh, the home fans like that. What a game. It's got everything. On the run. It's happening again. It's a whole new game.
Cause here it comes, here it comes.
One bounce at 60, one bounce at 40, one bounce at 20, and he goes.
He plays on from 52 out. The package bangs it through.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
On the left boot, he's welcome to the big time moment.
Something big is coming, something big is coming.
Turn steady, go!
Something big is
The
coming.
2023 AFL Premiership season.
Durham to win it. Goal!
Fill your lungs, are you ready for it?
Gets onto it, and away it goes.
Tapped it twice with his left hand, gathered in the right forward pocket. That is brilliant.
Here they come.
That's class. Oh, he's a star. What a game. Brilliant.
He goes.
This kid is going places.
Hand pass to Sarong. Sarong pulls the trigger. Boom. Rioli with some magic. The check side finish. He seizes the moment. Curls it around. What about that?
Hand pass to Elliott, back to Hill. Superb finish.
55 out. He's given this plenty. That's a magnificent strike of the football.
He dribbles it along the ground for an incredible goal.
Grimes goes long. High altitude fly from Showbolt. Snap from 35, and boy does he love it.
Good for Humphrey. Here's Humphrey to put the Suns 8 points clear.
To take the lead. It never looked like missing.
Grandstand AFL on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
Finally, some football to bring you on this Saturday of round 14, and a bridge round 14 with the bye rounds populated through these couple of weeks of football as we get into winter. Welcome to the Sydney Showground, aka Giants Stadium. Quentin Hull and the team to bring you this contest between Greater Western Sydney and Fremantle. Two teams just at the back of the jostling peloton, trying to get themselves in position to play finals in 2023. Real intrigue around this game. The Dockers, of course, got to September, won a game last year, but they're 6-6 coming to Sydney for this one against a GWS team is basically half a year into a new era under new coach Adam Kingsley. 5 wins and 8 losses for a Giants team that is yet to get their break. They have the bye next week, while the Dockers are 2 weeks back from their rest. And the first step was a misstep at home, getting beaten by 15 points by Richmond last week, while the Giants, as mentioned, they get their bye next week. Their most recent assignment was a victory down in Hobart over North Melbourne. Last time they were here, pushed Richmond to a goal in a cracking game of football, but they went down in that one. So there's real high stakes for these two teams, who have designs, no doubt, of being in the final 8 later on this season. I'll be joined in commentary by Daniel Garb, former Premiership Swan Tide Kennelly, dual All-Australian and AFLW Giants skipper Alicia Eva, Declan Byrne down on the boundary line on what is, Garby, what do we call it by local standards? I'd go with cool and clear Saturday afternoon/evening out here at the showground.
Another shocking winter's day in Sydney, isn't it? It is absolutely beautiful. Not a cloud in the sky. Walking in, yeah, there's a jumper on, but you don't really need it. It has been like this all winter long so far. Touch wood, it stays that way, and that should allow for an awesome game of football, hopefully, because it looks so even on paper. Every which way you cut this game up, it's hard to make a strong case for either side. The Giants searching for back-to-back wins for the first time this season. They haven't won at home since round 1. They need to end that rut. But we know Fremantle, of course, have designs on playing finals football, and they need to win these sorts of games if that's going to be the case. But a massive loss for the Giants in the lead up to it. Jesse Hogan, a late out. Perhaps that changes the way many people look at this game because he's such an important figure for the Giants inside their attacking 50.
And that allows the number 1 draft pick to come back into the team. So Aaron Cadman was named as an emergency. Hogan out with a calf issue. So Cadman plays. Ryan Angwin is the sub for the Giants, and the Dockers have had a late change as well. Michael Frederick with an ankle issue has been ruled out for the Purple, which means that Sam Sturt gets a reprieve. He was an original omission at selection, named as an emergency, but he will play, and Neil Erasmus is the emergency now sub for the Fremantle Dockers. Nice to see you, Tig. How's things going?
Likewise, Quinton. It's great to be here. It's a cracking Saturday afternoon in Sydney, and great morning, as you said. Garby, the weather's been fantastic all winter, but it looks like it's going to be a cracking game of football. That absolute tipster's nightmare trying to pick this one. Yeah. It is. It's evening match, and what I've loved about the Giants is they've been in every single game they've played in bar one. 7 of the 8 losses that they've had have been less than 21 points. The margins, there's none of them blown out, so they've been very impressive. There's a clear style of the way Adam wants them to play. Clearly, they want to play front half football, win the contest, get the ball in the front half and trap it. And it's some incredible turnover numbers last week against North Melbourne. And then the flip side, obviously, Freo, we know what they're capable of after a slow start to the season. They got themselves going 4 in a row. And then obviously last week's loss against Richmond, they'll be disappointed. But I'm really looking forward to this one. And
the footy head that is Alicia Eva has finally made time for us today. Alicia, how are you? What's your Saturday been like so far?
Oh, this is part 3 for me. So I had a AFLW training this morning, which was our main sesh for the week, and then VFL immediately after at Giants HQ. So we got a win there. So I'm pretty happy. And now part 3 is in the commentary box with you, gentlemen. So
save the best to last.
Yeah, absolutely. Some would say. No, look, I'm really looking forward to this game. I know we've already spoken about the picture perfect conditions out there, and I'm sure Declan will fill us in how lovely it is at ground level, but this game is so hard to pick. We know the Giants have got some big ins with Kelly and Sam Taylor, of course. Fremantle need to, they fell off a little bit last week with that loss to Richmond, but they've been playing some good footy in the last month. Obviously beating Melbourne at the MCG is a huge win. So last week would have been disappointing, but in their last month, interestingly, Fremantle are ranked number 1 for tackles and pressure. So they've got their defensive game going, and they're also number 1 in the last month for centre bounce clearance, which is an area that the Giants have probably given up a little bit in the season so far. So it's going to be a really interesting contest because both sides, their pressure and they're, I guess, wanting to lock the ball inside forward 50 is a hallmark of both games. So it's pressure v pressure today. It's
interesting we have these weird fixture flows during the bye rounds, and no Saturday afternoon football. We're in the so-called outer rim of the competition here with the Giants and Freo, none of the big Melbourne clubs. But the one thing that I will say, that the footy heads will know, if you love your footy, you think you want to come to a game where there's consequences for the team that gets beaten. And the real intrigue about this contest, if the Giants are to be where they want to be, they need to win this game. And that's exactly what we can say about the Dockers as well, Ty.
They're certainly going to put it up to them. The Giants have had a huge shift in what's happened in 6 months of obviously change of coach and the game style. Now the players know what way they want to play. The consequences are enormous for both sets of clubs. The Giants should have beaten Richmond. You're starting to shift your mindset around. Instead of being 5-8, 6-8, hang on a second, we're actually a chance of playing finals here. You shift another one and you'll get to Freo here. You beat this game, you get same points against Freo. Freo lose it. The Ledger to 6-6, they've turned it back. They go 6-7. It's become really challenging for them. So there's huge consequences in this game, and that's what you love about football, and it's what I've loved what the Giants have been able to do over the past 12 games.
If you want to get in touch, you can get in touch through the SMS 0437 774 774. That's 0437 774 774. In a moment, Brent Daniels is going to join us, but we'll get to Declan Burns' assessment of conditions. I've gone with cool but clear, or the Sydney side is saying it's perfect. What do you reckon, Declan? How are you?
Yeah, well, as a Sydney side, perfect comes to mind. It is mint conditions down here. There's not a breath of wind, 19 degrees. And here at Giants Stadium, the sun sort of sets and it will get cooler as the night goes on. But, yeah, both teams were out, warming up just before. Skills looking slick, so hopefully plenty of goals tonight. And the crowd filling in as well slowly. We had a couple of weeks ago the best crowd at Giants Stadium since 2019 against the Tigers. So we'll see how they go today. And I also want to make mention, you might be able to hear in the background,
Yes.
the Wiggles were at the SCG a few weeks ago. I'd never heard of this act. The Beanies, currently on Crowd Entertainment pre-game, another children's act entertaining a few of the kids here early.
Well, that's good to see. And they're enjoying it on the outer terrace over there. There's lots of kids jumping around in front of that supporting act, getting them into a good mood before what should be an enthralling game of football, the Giants and the Fremantle Dockers. Keen to ask you, Alicia, about the two big inclusions. So Josh Kelly comes back. Obviously, that beefs up the midfield. But Sam Taylor's the really interesting one. Love watching him play. We all do. Weird to say that about a fullback, but if you watch the Giants week in, week out, he's such an enjoyable footballer to view because of his competitiveness and intensity. I've loved Jack Buckley's season. I think Connor Iden's last month has been exceptional. What does that do for those players when you bring Sam Taylor now back into that back six?
Well, I think, I'll start with Connor Iden, actually. He's quite a versatile player and he's often underrated, but he's regularly doing a job on some of the competition's best forwards. And I think because he is so versatile, when the Giants lost the likes of Sam Taylor, the Giants could find matchups for the smaller players and move Connor Iden onto some of the tools. So Sam Taylor coming in today, I mean, he's a key back. He's a full-back. He's an All-Australian full-back. So he'll obviously take the big key forwards. And it just means that Connor Iden can probably interchange between the two, depending on rotations down there. So Jack Buckley as well. The story that of Jack Buckley is a fantastic one. Obviously, ACL had a long period of time without playing any footy. He was an emergency round one, and then I think he was included after Phil Davis pulled out late. And from there, he's just taken his opportunity and run with it and shut down some big key forwards of the game and done a really solid job back there. So that trio, they can all play tall, and if needed, Connor Iden can play on some of those smaller players as well.
I think what it does is the shift is Harry Himmelberg forward now with Jesse Hogan out. It's a pretty simple for mine. He comes in, Taylor goes back. Harry Himmelberg goes forward with Riccardi, and it actually gives him a different look again and a potent forward line. You get Lockie Keefe on the bench also. It's going to obviously help out the rock, but Himmelberg forward I prefer myself. I have a preference at Harry and playing consistently as a forward.
Well, I heard a whisper from the Giants that it's going to be Keefe up forward to keep Double H down back. So we'll wait and see if that transpires the way that we've been told. That SMS number again, 0437 774 774 to get in touch. Please let us know your name and where you're texting from, and those late team pieces of information as well. Hogan out with a calf injury for the Giants, so Cadman plays and Angwin is the sub. And for the Dockers, Frederick out, Sturt plays and Erasmus is the sub. A guy that's not going to be out there, though, is live wire small forward Brent Daniels, who's fortunately enough not on the long-term injury list for another hamstring issue. It has plagued him at different times throughout his career, but why should we tell you the nature of it when he could tell us himself, because we were able to catch up with him in the box just a short time ago. We'd love to be seeing him out there, but unfortunately Brent Daniels still just trying to get over a few soft tissue problems. But the Giants season still has a pulse about it. Big game today against the Dockers. Brent, thanks for coming in to share a moment or two with us.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it is a big game. Obviously both clubs have been a little bit up and down this year, so it should be a cracker. It's a great day for footy here, so I'm looking forward to watching, and hopefully the boys can get the job done. Looking forward to watching? How are you watching when you're not playing? Yeah, it is a little bit frustrating, hard, but I've got used to it over the last couple of years. So it's nothing out of the ordinary now. But I'd love to be playing, obviously. But a small hiccup, hopefully, and back after the bye. Well, just tell us the nature of your injury, because we know you've had issues with this in the past. Word is that this is just a minor problem, but have you had a fair bit of restless nights, just wondering whether or not it's going to be a long-term one for you? Yeah, definitely. When I did it, I definitely thought it was going to be pretty similar to what I've done in the past. But I got the scans and it was a pretty good result in the end. It's just a 2-weeker, which previously I've probably had 4 to 6 weeks with tendon damage, and fortunately there was no tendon damage this time. It was just a little bit of damage on the outside of the hamstring with the fascia. So hopefully back after the bye and full steam ahead for the rest of the season. That's comforting news, Brent, but you were going so well before the hamstring. So how big of a shame was it that you had to take a break after your form was hitting such a high? Yeah, it seems to always happen like that. You start getting a few good games together and something gets in the way. But, yeah, as I said, it is frustrating. But I think the positive out of it is, all the work I'm doing, it's working. I've had a couple of hammies this year, but they haven't really been too serious. So, it's just a nice reality check. I've got to keep on top of things and, keep working on things because you're never a finished product. And, it is frustrating, but thankfully it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be and what it has been in the past.
Can't wait to see you back out there. Unfortunately for the Giants, Jesse Hogan's are laid out. The club's just announced that. So what does that do to the forward line today in what is such a massive game?
Yeah, Hogs is obviously out. I think he had a bit of a tight calf and he's played every game this year, so I don't think the club wanted to risk him just before the bye. So, I think Cads will come in and he'll just play his role and hopefully he can hit scoreboard and play his role in the system, which we've been big on this year. It doesn't matter who's playing, it's just the guys come in and play their role in our system. And, we think if you do that, then you can play some good footy. So, Hoag's been out. It is a big loss. He's been unbelievable this year for us. And, I think he'll be back after the bye anyway.
Brent Daniels from the Giants is with us ahead of GWS taking on Fremantle. And when we get a chance to chat to one of the players, we'd love to get inside the four walls of the footy club. And the most obvious question is when you've had such a long-term coach, you get a new one. We're half a year into seeing the new Giants under Adam Kingsley, but you've lived it ever since he's been around the place. What are you picking up about what's different with the new boss?
Yeah, to be honest, there is a lot of difference. Leon, coached a different way. I think everyone's saying that we play a little bit faster. We're very system-based. In the past, I think we've had a lot of talent on our list, but we haven't really had a specific way of how we played. But with King, as he came in and just straight away just told us how we wanted to play, and pretty much all our reviews, doesn't matter win, loss or draw, it's all to do with that, is how we play our system. It's really relatable for the players because they know what's coming with the week ahead and things like that.
And that's footy speak, but for the general fan system, what can you explain it? How do the Giants want to play their footy? How is Adam Kingsley instructing you to play your footy?
Yeah, a lot of it is high pressure. It's around that, high pressure, around the ball, in the forward half. We want to create a lot of forward half turnovers, which is important in today's game to be a really good team. But from the back half, we've seen, I think, in the last couple of weeks, we want to play really fast, aggressive. I think we do see that. It's just all around pressure, really, ahead of the ball. We want to be a high-pressured team move the ball really fast to give the forwards the best opportunity.
It's one of those buzzwords, isn't it, Garby? System. But we're all trying as fans to work it out, and particularly in a sport like Australian football where we're lucky. We get to come to the ground and get to see the whole venue. The majority of fans only get to see it on a small screen, which really makes it tough for us to work out how teams are trying to play at times.
Yeah, it is, I guess, being inside the four walls, it is a thing that you just think everyone knows, but they obviously don't. But I think if you watch all the best teams, everyone will play a pretty similar way in terms of their system. A lot of it's to do with, defence, pressure, and setting the ground up, which is really important. So, Kingers has been huge on that. He's obviously come from Richmond, and we've taken a lot of their game style out of what they've done. So, I think when we played the other week, there was a lot of the same stuff going on at both ends, which is pretty funny to see.
System's so important, but let's be honest, it's enhanced by star players. And you get two back this week in Sam Taylor and Josh Kelly. Just on Taylor, he was unbelievable last season, All-Australian Best and Fairest winner. Really enjoyed watching Jack Buckley throughout the campaign. And Connor Iden in the last month, I think, has been really impressive. So Sam Taylor coming back into your back six, what does that mean for a Buckley and an Iden who have elevated their performances in his absence?
Yeah, well, obviously Slammer, Sammy's he's an unbelievable player, All-Australian last year, and he'll obviously, I think he'll take the best forward for most teams, which he does, and does unbelievably well, and then that also allows Bucks to take care of the second tall, which will help him as well, take a little bit of pressure off him. Obviously, he's only really new to the game, really. He hasn't played too many games, so takes a little bit of pressure off him, and then in terms of flexibility, it allows us to, I guess, release Iden a little bit, can play small and tall, and then also can get a little bit more aggressive, which we've seen over the last couple of months with his run and carry, which he's got elite speed, so we'd love to see him do that. But, overall, it just allows us to, open the game a little bit, unlock a few players and, take the pressure off the back line overall.
It feels like you're pretty close to hitting your best this season. Like, you've had some close losses, you've matched it with really good teams. It feels like in the second half of the year, the Giants could potentially go on a run. How far off your absolute best do you think you are as a group?
Yeah, we definitely knew that we weren't going to be playing our best footy early in the season with the new system, and it's a pretty drastic change of what we've done in the past. So, yeah, and as we've seen, like, we've played some really good footy, but at the same time, we've played some poor footy at the same time as well. So that's probably reflected by our results. We've been a little bit up and down and lost a lot of close games. So, yeah, I definitely think if we can continue to track well and, you know, take care of the things we can, yeah, results in the back half of the season will come, but we don't really think of it or look at it that way. It's just all about, I guess, how we want to play, do the things that we can control, and we think if we do that, we can be in the game every week.
And here's the great intangible, and perhaps because of the reality of the fact of where the Giants play their footy in Greater Western Sydney, the emotional engagement that you've got for the club and that you've got for your group. It's easy to sell when you look at the teams at the top of the competition at the moment. Collingwood, Melbourne won a comp a couple of years ago, Port Adelaide, you know, traditional footy places, and they've got the group together and they're playing in big old traditional clubs, and it's probably easy to see culture. So when you think of your footy club and culture and trying to get everyone to buy in on it, what's it mean to you?
Yeah, it's a tough question, but I think over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of list turnover, and we've really targeted the guys we want to keep, which is a part of footy a little bit. But I think at the moment, we've got a young group of guys that really care and are passionate about the Giants, which is important. And
you have to be as much passionate for your mates more so than the club as a whole. You're just a group of guys playing footy together because, I mean, you aren't as big and you don't have the history, so you have to take time to create that. So is it almost the bond of the list has to be closer?
Yeah, well, I think that's it. Like, we want to create history. We want to build a new club. I think a lot of guys out of here want to be a part of the Giants' first premiership, which is one thing I really want to do. It's, you know, we got so close in 2019, but I feel like the group we've got now, guys like Sammy Taylor, Jack Buckley, Connor Iden, Harry Perriman, Isaac Cumming, we're all young guys and we really want to take the club forward. I think it's probably the first time that we've had a young core of guys that really want to push and drive the Giants, and I think that's really special in a football club, and you really can't buy that, is guys that are passionate and they want to play for the club and want to be successful as well. So yeah, I think, as I said, it's the first time we've really got a young group that are really passionate and want to drive the Giants football in Sydney, and yeah, I think it's really special.
And are you on the bench or in the coach's box? How do you spend the day?
No, I'll be with the rest of the boys that haven't played, so yeah, as I said earlier, it's pretty frustrating to watch sometimes. But
corporate box with sort of cocktail sausages and that type of stuff? Or?
Nah, mate, if you know me, I'm not into that kind of stuff. I like just, you know, slotting into the back and not getting too much notice. So, it'll be a good game.
Bye week and then hopefully back playing footy?
Yep, that's the plan. Had a training session this morning, got through that all right. And, yeah, next week we'll train with the group, hopefully. And then the week after that, we'll just be into main training and all things tracking towards playing.
Appreciate you coming up and having a chat to us, Brent. You've got a special part in my memory as well, having called that goal you kicked to sink Brisbane at the Gabba in 2019 in the finals series. So I'm sure there's bigger moments to come for you as well.
It was a nice memory, that one, but hopefully there's many more to come, yeah.
Thanks for your time. So just before we were able to come on air, Brent Daniels popping in. He's an impressive young man and a very important part of this Greater Western Sydney team. If you are just joining us, Quentin Hull, Daniel Garb, Ty Kennelly, Alicia Eva and Declan Byrne with you at the Sydney Showground, with GWS taking on Fremantle. Jesse Hogan are laid out for the Giants. Michael Frederick are laid out for the Dockers. Aaron Cadman coming in for the Orange and Sam Sturt for the Purple. Ryan Angwin is the sub for the Giants and Neil Erasmus for the Dockers. Garby, was really good to have a chat to Brent Daniels. And the stuff about creating, I mean, we work and live in this part of the footballing world. We know that it's tougher when you're not in the heartland of Melbourne or Adelaide or Perth. You've got to be better at some things and you have to create your own history, and that is a part of the path, particularly for the Giants. And I mean, and the Dockers know it themselves, yet to win a flag, and but of course from a very strong footballing part of the world. But it just rams home every time you come here how much better the Giants have to do things to get to being relevant in the competition and the immovable obstacles, so it seems, of history in front of them.
No doubt. But people have short memories, and I'm not saying this is the case for you, not at all, but people forget that they've been pretty successful already, and they made a grand final in 2019. They have a bad year or two, and I feel like people want to take pot shots sometimes at their culture, and I think their culture's actually been pretty strong since entering the competition. And from the outside watching in, that's been off the back of the close-knit group, the likes of Cornelio and Kelly and Whitfield and Ward, who seem to have a bit of a brotherhood, Alicia, and you know it pretty well from being inside the inner sanctum. And yes, players leave all the time, and that's an issue for them as it has been for the Suns, but they still have a core group, and it feels like whoever comes in loves being at this football club.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess, I'm similar in the same boat. I guess a lot of these players on the list have come up from Melbourne or from interstate, and when the club was put together, I think 11, 12 years ago, a number of those players moved interstate, and it has to become a family club in the sense, not so much supporters, and I know we talk about a lot of clubs as being family clubs, but actually within the four walls. You move away from your support systems, you move away from your friends or your schoolmates and your family, and you're at work, and then you might also be at home with with your teammates. A lot of these young guys live together or have in the past, just like our AFLW side. So a lot of your support networks up here are actually within this team and within the people at the club. So yeah, it's I think the culture piece is spoken about a lot. And we always talk about talent and talent shifting and going home and whatnot, but there's a lot of talent that's also stayed.
I was Sean from Sydney has texted along those lines. Ty, sorry to cut you off there, but he says, AFL in Sydney print media. I look closely. Basically 0 articles except a small column on page 8 of the Sport with a summary of the result. Need some cut through. We're not a development league for Melbourne clubs. And look, we know that this is a continuing narrative because this is footy in this part of the world, and here we are, a standalone Saturday. This is the first game, and we get a chance. There's some clear air to discuss a bit more about the fabric of what makes this place tick and what they're trying to achieve and what they have already achieved, as Garby points out.
Bang on, Quinton. And look, there's a game on in Sydney every weekend now, compared to when the Giants weren't here 10 years ago. There's a game on, that people can come and watch football. There's football here. So I was part of the football club in the Swans when I arrived in 99, and it was a shell of what the football club is now. And that's 20 years on from it started almost. It's going to take time. And you talk about your culture, and there was a shift in the culture at the time. The football club went from being ran like a business to be ran like a football club. Football clubs are football clubs. They're there to win games of football. And if you get your football department and the people involved in the football club win games of football and invest every penny that you get back into what's happening out there on the football field, guess what? Success will come off the field from a marketing and sponsorship, membership, supporters will come, because Sydney, more than any other city in this country, loves winners, loves sellouts, and that's going to be a challenge for this football club. But they can get there. The Swans, you see it, the Kings, you say the Warthas, all these sports and soccer, Sydney FC, when they're winning, Sydney jumps on board. No matter where or who you're supporting, they will jump on board with that Sydney team.
And part of the narrative as to why today is so important, again, there is the similarity of Dockers. Second team in town, had to chase the established team. Got to a grand final but haven't won one. All of these little things, which again leads us into the fact that it's interesting that with the eyes of the competition nowhere else to look, we get a really good look at these two clubs and the story of these two seasons, where today's a really big game on the path of two different yet similar footy teams trying to do what all of them are doing, make finals and win big games.
And I'm keen to watch one of the biggest names in the game in that Fife run around this afternoon. So he made comments in the Perth media during the week that he's feeling the best he ever has. He played 7 games last season. It's his 7th game for the season today. Sarong's having a fantastic campaign on All-Australian pace. Brayshaw's back to his best now. You add Nat Fife to that mix, and it's such a dynamic Fremantle midfield. So if he is at his best, he's a really interesting watch this afternoon.
He is, and I was watching him doing the centre bounce warm-up, and he was moving pretty well. So like I said in the pre-game, Freo, number 1 in the comp in the last month for centre bounce clearances. So they're going to have to watch who's in there, and we know the quality of Nat Fife, so looking forward to seeing him play today.
And from an aesthetics point of view, Alicia, I'm big on traditional playing strips. Even though we don't see it all that often these days, I was expecting the white free strip today, but no, they've turned up in the purple with the white shorts. Not the white and white, the purple with the white shorts, and the Giants in their charcoal and orange. And as was the case at the Gabba last night, there is going to be a moment of reflection and respect shown by these two clubs, particularly from the Sydney angle, because there's great connection with the Singleton Roosters Australian football team, which was a part of that horrid bus crash tragedy where 10 lives were lost. So we saw this observed at the request of the Swans last night before they took on Brisbane at the Gabba, and we're going to have said reflection here at the Sydney Showground before the Giants and the Dockers do battle.
Tragedy in the Hunter Valley. We send our deepest condolences to all those affected by the accident, including those involved in the Singleton Roosters Australian Football Club and our Hunter and Central Coast football community. Players and coaches from both sides are today wearing black armbands as a mark of respect. Please join us in observing a moment's silence. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
So the lights are on and the sunlight is starting to fade out in the western portion of Greater Sydney, with the Giants and the Dockers about to do battle here on Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. Later on today, it's Richmond and St Kilda at the MCG. But Ty Connelly, Alicia Eva, your final thoughts and tips, please, before we get into this contest, which dare we throw out the old sayings? This is a mid-season 8-point game.
This is a classic. It is. It's in all shape and form, because I've got no idea who's going to win it. No idea. Not listen to us for expert comments, because this is as evenly matched as you're going to get from mine. And the thing that's swaying it for me is the home ground advantage and the fact that the Giants are in good form, and they're playing a style of football that I love watching, and they need to get a home win.
Yeah, as you asked, Quinton, Tig and I both looked at each other and kind of pulled a funny face, because we're not sure how this one's going to go. But I am looking forward to the Luke Jackson, Kieran Briggs ruck battle. I think centre bounce is going to go a long way in this game. I think the Giants by less than 10. It's
really interesting with Sean Darcy out and Jackson now doing some rucking by himself with the support of Tracy. But he's been excellent, Briggs, hasn't he? And it's not quite... Well, we speak of the lack of history at this club, but what history it has is they've had a big, dominant, big man ruckman when they're going well, and he's not quite the spirit of Mummy, but I think, there's a bit of Brendan Fraser about him, isn't there? The old Mummy, the Mummy returns in Kieran Briggs.
That's right. Look, he's challenged...
We could call him the Whale. That was Brendan Fraser's big comeback.
Happy too. And he'd be happy with it.
Don't tell him I said that.
I'll say that to him. But look, it's a great story too. Briggs, he's another one that's battled through injury and a bit of form, and his consistency has been the challenge for him, and he's brought that to his game now. And look, Mummy's the ruck coach at the football club, and he's keeping out young Matty Flynn, well, not young anymore, but Matty Flynn out of the side. So he is a big body midfielder that loves the contact, and now he's getting on the scoreboard also, going forward and kicking goals. And I'm really looking forward to that battle also.
Two skippers are in the middle. Alex Pearce of the Dockers and Toby Green of the Giants, and Toby Green has won the toss and kicking to the big scoreboard end, the northern end of this stadium, with its colourful orange and red seats, which are slowly being filled by a crowd that we expect around 8,000 to 9,000, which is pretty good in these points. And let's be honest, unless there's a big Melbourne club coming to town outside of outside of Victoria, you need those big Melbourne teams to boost up the crowds in this part of the footballing world, and the Dockers aren't that. It's a long way to travel, so hopefully there's some hearty fans from the west who have made the trip, but it's going to be predominantly locals turning up today, and let's hope they make a good noise and get a good game of footy.
Just a little bit of purple in the outer, though. Some expats potentially with links to Fremantle.
Ex-West Australians everywhere, Garby.
That's true. So they'll have some support today, the Dockers.
Keep your messages coming, 0437 774 774. Before we get going, last thoughts on the boundary. Declan Byrne, what are the conditions like?
Yeah, conditions still beautiful, but just noticed in the warm-up, Lockie Keefe training with the forwards and Himmelberg with the backs, and looks like they've gone that way. Keefe lining up at the front for the Giants.
The tsunami warning sounds out And we're getting ready to play football on what is a lovely sun-setting scene here in Sydney's West for the Giants and the Dockers. I hope you can enjoy it with us on Grandstand AFL. Here's Daniel Gard.
Luke Jackson in the middle in the absence of Sean Darcy. Kieran Briggs in wonderful form for the Giants. He can't get a clean tap on it. Greater Western Sydney work it forward. O'Halloran's handball fell the way of Jackson. He gave a little one to Liam Henry. He's slung in the tackle, got the handball free though to Jackson. He finds Fife. Fife just guides it up the wing towards half forward. It has one bounce before going over the boundary line. So we'll have a boundary throw in just forward of the wing for the Dockers. Lights on here at Giants Stadium. A beautiful Saturday afternoon in Sydney. Great to have your company around the nation.
And Briggs and Jackson do battle once more. Briggs to the front, got first hand. Tom Green at the coalface, tackled by Henry, but got a boot to it to roll it towards half forward. Met by Toby Green. He's tackled immediately by Clark. And no way through. Toby's got the orange boots to go with his orange socks, as we often see. Ball tossed up on the wing. Briggs clear tap down for the Giants, but roved by Clark of the Dockers. High kick towards half forward. 2-on-2 contest. Ball fisted to ground, and the number 22 returning Kelly had it and lost it under the tackle of Walters. Got a hand pass to Tom Green. His hand pass turned over. Picked up by Tracy of the Dockers. Hand pass to Sarong, who's tackled fiercely by Bedford. Picked up by Iden of the Giants. Kicks to half forward. Couple against Toby Green. He gathered on the bounce and he's wrapped up, and we'll see a ball up between wing and left half forward.
Freo bringing a small forward up to the contest to try and create some space in the forward line.
Briggs wins it cleanly out of the ruck. Handball backwards to Josh Kelly. He sweeps one out to the wing, and Stephen Canelio, the West Australian against the Dockers, looks for his good mate in Toby Green. His short pass is over Toby Green's head. He's being matched up by Hayden Young. So boundary throw in just outside attacking 50 for the Giants. And if Young is staying with Toby Green, that's a big matchup for the young Dockers defender.
We've played all of 2 minutes and the Giants already up to 6 tackles.
Shallowish throw in. Jackson got to the drop. No effective tap. Fife makes it effective, but he's tackled by Briggs holding the ball. Play on. Tom Green takes the advantage. 40 out. He kicks from the boundary to the goal mouth. Big pack goes to deck. O'Halloran went without it under pressure from Pearce. The Dockers skipper forages in for it. Can't pick it up. Tapped out the back by Lloyd, but the Dockers have the numbers. Cox receives a hand pass from Switkowski and clears, but the kick beyond half back is marked by Iden for the Giants just forward of the wing.
Spoken about him a lot in the pre-game, Connor Iden. Really enjoyed his last month. Kept Dustin Martin goalless here a couple of weeks ago.
He's had a good couple of years now and really settled down football in his back line, in his back six for this football club.
Here's Harry Perryman in the middle of Giants Stadium. Kicks GWS into attack. Keefe launches at it. Almost took it at the second bite. They work it back to Josh Kelly, just outside attacking 50. He now snaps it back into a dangerous area. Jordan Clark has taken the mark, but it bounced off his leg. Somehow it wasn't paid. Daniel Lloyd, Grubbers one. Fremantle still under pressure. Picked up by Jackson to Schultz, and now Luke Ryan at left half back gets away from Callum Brown. Back to Schultz. He looks for Jackson at half back. It's over his head. Boundary throw in on the outer wing.
Giants setting up really strong behind the ball here. They're playing a lot of football in the front half, as we know they like to do, and they've set up really strong behind the ball, which is making it very difficult for Freo to bring the ball out.
Throwing it right half forward for Greater Western Sydney. Bit of a wobbly throw in. Haynes gets the clearance at the back of the pack for the Giants. Hand passes to Cornelio on the wing, and he slots a pass to Toby Green. Takes the mark too far out to score. Rolls on from 60. His kick is affected by late applied pressure from behind. Turnover. Dockall's ball. Driscoll gets a hand pass to Schultz under pressure. Hand pass through Brayshaw. They rumble it to the middle of the ground but turn it over. Tom Green picks up for the Giants. Hand pass to Perryman. Backwards the hand pass to Kelly, who shows clean skills. Then just tumbles a hoper from the middle of the ground to half forward. Keefe meets it and marks at centre half forward. 50 out for the Giants. Kicks to the pocket. He's got a man on. It's Lloyd. Near the boundary, 30 metres out in the right forward pocket. Comes infield, chips it to Toby Green, who was unmarked. And he takes the mark, no closer to goal, but a kinder angle.
Josh Kelly. See how clean he was? You're wondering what a footballer's missing a lot of football. A superstar like that in the competition. He was so clean below his knees. Just got on the boot. Lucky Keefe's looked dangerous, hasn't he, forward of the ball for the Giants?
He has, and I think that's a good move by Adam Kingsley, sending Lockie Keith forward. He's a ginormous man. I think he's 204 centimetres, so he takes Alex Pearce, and it means Jake Riccardi doesn't necessarily get the big full back.
Toby Green from 40 metres out, slight angle to the right, pumps his fist as soon as he hits it with his right boot. And that's the first strike for the Orange. Greater Western Sydney, one straight lead. Fremantle yet to score. 5 minutes played. Twilight footy on Grandstand. AFL through ABC Sport. Tyke Kennelly and Alicia Reaver.
I love when they got that football and when Keith got that footy outside 50. I was thinking, well, is he going to have a shot? He's looking for a teammate. Looked for Lloyd. And Lloyd's in an angle and he's every right to have the shot. He's also gone looking for that selfless play, and it's a real team goal. And the fact that they're looking for their teammates in better positions, it's a great thing as far as from a coaching perspective. That you've got players that are looking and playing for each other and want to give each other the lick of the ice cream. And Geelong were renowned for this as far as a football club. They were always looking for players inside their forward 50 in better positions. And the kick was from Lloyd. It was just a little 20-metre, 15-metre kick. So a noted goal kicker in Green makes all the difference, opens it up, and you know he's going to kick throughly from there.
Goal 298 of Toby Green's illustrious career, so he's closing in on a milestone. The Giants with the first of the game. They are 1 straight 6. Fremantle yet to score. O'Meara's won a free kick though in the middle of Giants Stadium. It's against his very good mate and Stephen Cornelio, who slung him in the tackle. O'Meara pumps the Dockers into attack for what feels like the first time in this game. Fife has it. He's tackled by Perryman. We'll have a ball up inside attacking 50 for Fremantle.
No Jesse Hogan for the Giants. And no Michael Frederick for the Dockers. Tom Green from the clearance kick smothered. Ricochets to Sarong. Snap on goal from 40 metres out. Doesn't have the penetration. It pitches in the pocket, out of play. Boundary throw in. So the late ins, Cadman for the Giants and Sturt for the Dockers. Angwin's the sub for GWS. And Erasmus for Fremantle. That late team news coming through if you adjust to the broadcast. Dockers into attack for one of the first opportunities to try and score. Throw in right forward pocket. Jackson gets clean possession. Ham passes to the corridor. Sarong slaps it on his boot. Mistimes it. Misdirects it. The timing of the kick was okay. It was a catch and slam on the boot. He's kicked it across the face, out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Giants in the right back pocket.
Had a bit more time than he thought there. Often when you get a ball like that in that dangerous part of the ground, you are set upon, but he had a bit more time there, Sarong.
Sam Taylor back in the Giants side with his first disposal since round 6. A short one to Harry Himmelberg in the pocket, who is staying back despite Jesse Hogan's late omission. Lockie Keith doing well up forward, but that's a good mark by Luke Jackson on the wing. The Dockers ruckman filling in as chief ruck for Fremantle in the absence of Sean Darcy and doing a very good job. 23 disposals last week. That was a strong mark. They looked for Liam Henry at half forward, but Nick Haynes read it beautifully. Intercepted and found Xavier O'Halloran on the diagonal, just behind the wing for the Giants. He goes short, back to Haynes. Fremantle trying to get men behind the ball, but Haynes has an option in Cornelio on the wing. Methodical from GWS. They move it up just front of halfway, and Cornelio's happy to chip it around again, and Nick Haynes, who's one of the leading markers in the competition, has 3 already in this game. Now he goes long to half forward. He finds Tom Green off his hands. It bounces once and over the boundary line. Right half forward for GWS. They are 1 straight 6. The Dockers yet to score. We've got 8 minutes in the first quarter.
Just on Nick Haynes, who you might note, well, if you're watching the game, he's actually setting up in a different position. He started on the wing. Usually he's playing across half-back, and that's where he gets a number of those intercept marks. But the modern game these days, wingers are kind of taught to run defensively first, so you'll still see him intercepting across half-back.
Alicia Eva with you on Grandstand AFL. Block against the Giants at the stoppage. Free kick to Jackson at left half back for the Dockers. Kicks long to a contest on the outer wing. Off hands rode by Tom Green of the Giants. Gets a handball to Himmelberg. Kicks to half forward. Riccardi the target. He came from behind to spoil away from Ryan, but the ball bounces back to the Dockers defender. Has it. Hand passes backwards to Cox. Kicks across the face of goal. Walker takes the grab in the right back pocket for Fremantle. Kicks it to right half back. Leading, presenting and marking is Hughes. A couple of metres in from the boundary at right half back. Ethan Hughes, himself just a half dozen games away from a milestone of 100. He chips it inboard to Young. Young on the 45 to the middle of the ground of the bullseye. Jackson takes the mark. Doesn't turn and go corridor. He, in fact, goes wide to Ryan. Kicks it back infield to Cox. I thought they were about to go forward, Garby, but they're just kicking it across the middle of the ground, so I'll give you a go as it's kicked to Hughes on the right wing.
Here is Ethan Hughes. He guides it towards Luke Jackson, but Back there positioning himself well is Callum Brown, and he has a roost of a kick, and he finds Toby Green out the back at centre half forward. Toby will play on and look for Riccardi on a lead. Well done by Cox to get in front of him and spoil. In fact, it was Luke Ryan back there. He read it superbly. And now the Dockers can go from their defensive 50 through Walker. He finds Hayden Young. Inboard to O'Meara. Geez, he kicks the ball a long way. Your fellow Irishman Tygan, Callum Brown. He found Toby Green, but the Giants couldn't make the most of it.
It's a high possession game from Fremantle. Kick mark. It's very slow. The Giants are setting up well behind the ball. And the flip side, the Giants are going fast as possible on turnover.
O'Meara's kick to the wing, semi-smothered, but met on the half volley by Sarong, who was taken high. Free kick to Fremantle. 10 minutes played. Giants won straight. Dockers yet to score. Quentin Hale, Daniel Garb, Ty Kennelly, Alicia Eva and Declan Byrne with you at the showground in Sydney. Sarong from the wing kicks the half forward for the Dockers. First touch from 5, couldn't control the mark. Rode by O'Meara, who's tackled immediately. And holding the ball, gee, not much prior there. Harry Perryman put the clamp on and wins the free kick for the Giants on D50. Kicks it to right half back, marked by Himmelberg. The two Riverina boys combined. Kick around the centre square, marked by Green. He gets the hand pass to Ash, kicks the half forward, marked by O'Halloran. This is beautiful movement from the Giants. O'Halloran kicks into the corridor, and the sticky fingers of Brown complete the movement as he reaches high and marks 35 out directly in front.
Yeah, you can clearly see that every turnover, every opportunity the Giants are getting, they're going really fast and want to take the game on. It's happened numerous times at every turnover in any part of the ground. In fact, that free kick there, Perryman just looks lateral, good to kick to Himmelberg, and they're going real aggressive and taking the game on very fast. It's lovely to see. Nice. On the flip side, Freo are doing absolutely opposite to what's happening. Kick, mark, slow build up, and it's two very different styles of football with the ball in hand.
And this boy Ken hoof it. He's definitely within range. 40 metres out, right foot strike. Was almost has missed everything. Got the journey easily, but he's kicked it out of bounds on the full with a bad push to the right. No score. Remains Giants a goal. Dockers yet to score. 11.5 first term on Grandstand AFL.
It's not like any Irishman. They normally dead-eyed the ball in hand.
I was about to ask you how many Sherrins there would have been around County Derry where he grew up.
Brendan Cox brings it back in for Fremantle, but Harry Himmelberg watched it well. He's marked it half forward, so the Giants put Fremantle under pressure again. Cadman launches at it, got two hands to it, but couldn't control it. Under pressure is Hayden Young. He goes backwards to Jordan Clark in the back pocket. He feigned the handball, sold some candy, and now puts it in a dangerous area for Brayshaw. Collects, gives it to O'Meara. The Dockers go down the middle of the ground. Sturt, it went over the hand of Michael Walters, so it breaks down for Fremantle. Ash with the quick hands. Now Kellen Ward guides it to half forward and finds Cornelio. On his left, he plays on quickly. And on the counter-attack, the Giants have spotted up Riccardi. He'll kick from 45 metres out, slightly worse than a 45-degree angle.
Well, that was fast footy from both sides then. So on that occasion, Freo looked like they were going to get out the back with plenty of handball chain through the corridor. But on turnover, the Giants just punished them with or met them with the same, if not faster speed, and Jake Riccardi finds some space out the back of his defender.
He's finding some form, Jake Riccardi, over the last couple of weeks. He kicked 2 goals in the win over North, and he's got one this afternoon with a beautiful kick. Goal umpire doesn't have to move a muscle, and the Giants are 2 straight 12. Riccardi's on the board. Fremantle yet to score.
It's so good to see, isn't it? The Giants, they're attacked, they're taking the game on. You know, it reminds me of the team that they've obviously played Bones 10 years ago, 6 years ago, when they really took the game on at half back. And you can clearly see now why he wants Himmelberg at half back. He's got his hands on a lot of the ball so far, and he's actually looking very damaged. He's 6 disposals, and he's using the ball really well. He's giving a lot of run and drive off half back, but they're looking to play on. You saw that one in Cornelio. He didn't go back off the mark. He's just turned, assessed, and pinged it on his left to Riccardi, who's looking very dangerous forward of the ball also. Love watching football like this. Love watching teams going fast, and it's hard to watch Freo at the moment. They're playing so slow.
Well, that was strange. We got the great contrast there of about 6 or 7 chip marks in the back half, Ty, from the Dockers, and fell down first kick forward. Centre bounce, clearance, Tom Green of the Giants got a hand pass to Ward, another clearance for GWS, kick to a pack at full forward, knuckled to ground level. Hughes first there for the Dockers to win the rove. Hand passes to Walker, clearing kick is over the head of Sarong at left half back, just pitches in the field of play before bouncing over the boundary line. Throwing it left half back for Fremantle, right half forward for Greater Western Sydney, with the sun nearly set out here in the Homebush precinct. Lights are on, starting to take effect on the ground. Tracy's now in ruck against Keefe. Both share it. Cornelio at ground level. Hand pass stolen by O'Meara. Docker's ball. Hand passes it onto Johnson. Kicks Fremantle into attack. Back with the flight. Good courage shown from Buckley. Couldn't mark but brings it to ground level in a 2-on-2 battle. And the Giants prevail again. Ash picks up. Dumps a kick towards the middle of the ground. Bouncing ball fisted forward by Walker of the Dockers. Doesn't have a teammate. O'Halloran went and got it for the Giants. Handed to Brown. He's tackled fiercely by O'Driscoll. Players pile in with the ball on the deck edge of the centre square. Up lets them play. Tom Green comes away for the Giants. Got a hand pass to Haynes. Has space at left half forward to Gallup. And kick inside 50. Keep with 3 to beat. Oh, they all spoiled each other. Roved by Lloyd. He hand passes to the corridor. Roved by Cornelio. Left foot snap. Just doesn't have enough curl. Behind. Giants 2-1-13. Dockers still yet to score. 15 and a half played.
You can see the Giants just want to keep the ball live at the moment. They just want to put speed on the ball, even if it's chaotic. And a couple of times there, it looked like the Freo players had almost thought, oh, the umpire was going to blow the whistle and call a ball up, but the Giants just kind of hacked it forward and got it out into space again.
The Giants with the jump on Freo, 2-1-13. The Dockers yet to score. Fremantle work it out to Fife on the wing. Did well to gather it. Gave it to Johnson. Again, the tackling is intense from the Giants, and there's a big tackle there from Ward on Brayshaw, the 2 number 8s. The tackle slipped, though, and Brayshaw was caught below the knees, but now it's been turned over. So the umpire has seen something that has led to a reversal, and Josh Kelly has it on the wing for the Giants.
4 minds greater than 3, perhaps conflicting each other there, Garby.
Goes short to Iden. Now they switch it to the outer side, the Giants, and Finn Callaghan has it. Callaghan short to Whitfield. Excellent start from GWS. Lights on here at Giants Stadium on a beautiful winter's day in Sydney. Whitfield guides it to the right forward pocket off the hands of Lloyd. He was watched closely by Brandon Walker. Boundary throw in just inside 50, the attacking side of the ground for GWS.
G'day to Brett from North Bondi, who says, thanks for keeping me company on the drive to Campbelltown. Safe travel, Spriggy. Hope you enjoy cooling the Tigers tonight. Brett Spriggs on NRL duty tonight, so that's why I'm in his seat tonight. You can get in touch on 0437 774 774. Back of the pack, Callaghan wins the clearance for the Giants, whacks it inside 50. No one there to mark. Pearce emerges for the Dockers, wins the footy, hands it to Young, who's tackled by opposite 26 Riccardi at an age, holding the ball. Perfect tackle where the arms were pinned in the right way to do it. Couldn't allow a legal handball from Young, and Riccardi gets another shot at goal.
Well, you called it, Tig. You said he'd started well, and I think probably the knock on Jake Riccardi early in his career is his defensive pressure. We know he's such a big target and got good hands, but the defensive pressure's been lacking, so good reward.
Already got the one. Riccardi strikes beautifully. That went through almost full post height from 45 metres out and straight through the middle as well. The Giants have got the jump here big time. 3-1-19 to nothing after 18 minutes.
It's nothing better, is there, watching a key forward doing some defensive work and in going back and absolutely launching it post high from outside 50. And God, he's got a beautiful strike of the ball. And you're right, when you see the defensive work from a key forward, and I think a key part to it is they actually didn't try to sling. I know everything's going on with the tackle itself at the moment, and it looked like he was going to sling him, and I thought he didn't. He actually dropped to the knees and brought him down with him. Young, that was, and actually was a well-executed tackle, grabbed the arm and finished purely. And it's he's having a bit of a day as we're looking in the screen where Justin's got his hands on his head.
It's a bad sign when the coach looks that bereft of ideas 18 and a half into the game time.
I think
got him at a bad moment.
The Freo midfielders are going to get their hands on the ball here. They're just being smashed by the Giants midfielder. Luke Jackson is a leading possession getter on the ground for Fremantle at the moment.
Inside 50s, GWS 10 to Fremantle 4. The Giants 3-1-19, searching for their first win at home since round 1. Fremantle yet to score. Sarong with the clearance to O'Meara, but it didn't go far. He was wrapped up, and the Giants have won it back again. The quick kick from Toby Green inside 50 is marked by his opposing captain in Alex Pearce. He goes out wide to Liam Henry. He's taken the mark, Henry. Goes up the wing, and Sturt has found some space. The late inclusion for Michael Frederick. Sturt's kick finds Switkowski, fresh off signing a new contract this week. Into the pocket he goes, and he's picked out Amos. And the Dockers will finally have the chance to register a score in this first quarter. Amos will kick from 35 out on a tight angle right half forward.
First mark inside 50 for Fremantle this game.
You heard about this guy's nickname?
I have.
It's outstanding.
Go on, Tig. Tell us.
Never miss.
Never miss. Well, he's averaging 3 goals a game over his last 5 weeks, Jai Amos.
Great nickname, Nev.
23 goals for the season. Pick 8 in the 2021 draft. The future leader of this Fremantle forward line.
Has missed.
And never miss, has missed. Across the face, off hands, and it falls the way of Lockie Ash. So the Giants play on quickly from inside their own defensive goal square out to right half back it goes. It bounces in front of Lockie Keefe and over the boundary line. So once more, Fremantle have failed to register a score.
Actually won't record as a miss. So he's playing, he's still got his, he did miss.
Yeah, it's the whole goals behind,
Right.
sort of out in the fulls needed to be added to that to make it a really legitimate statistic. Boundary throw in, Briggs the tap down for the Giants at half back, but roved out the back by Switkowski of the Dockers. Hands it to Young on the wing, high kick back into attack for Fremantle. Big pack, Tracy got a hand, can't mark. O'Driscoll roves, gets onto his right kick, doesn't travel the journey, does it? Ump says yes.
That was lucky.
Ump says yes as Sturt takes the mark 40 metres out from goal. It doesn't matter where you are in Australia, but real estate is pretty tough to find out in Western Sydney. So perhaps being a little kind there, certainly in metropolitan parts at least. So Sam Sturt, originally dropped at selection, but comes in for the injured Michael Frederick. Looking to kick the Dockers first. Left foot shot on goal. That does have the journey, but it's across the face. It is the Dockers' first score, but it's a minor one at that. 3 goals the diff. Giants in front at 3-1 to 1 behind at 21.5 first term.
That went 7 metres, that kick from O'Driscoll to Sturt. I'd be surprised. A bit of sympathy perhaps from the umpire allows Fremantle to get on the board late in this first quarter as Whitfield brings it back into play. Out to right half back off hands. And over the boundary line, courtesy of Tom Green and Andrew Brayshaw, down to the boundary line and Declan Byrne.
Yeah, he's back out there now, but we'll just keep an eye on Luke Jackson, who was a bit proppy after a collision, had a chat to the physios. Yeah, good enough to go back out, though.
Thanks, Declan. G'day to Harry, who's saying it's rainy in Tasmania, but g'day, he's loving the call, thank you. From the stoppage, Giants ball, Switkowski under pressure, got a hand pass free, and I think that's Clark underneath Bedford. Yeah, it is. I had to be unsure. Such was the nature of the tackle from Bedford.
It's great ferocity, isn't it, in their attack at the ball and the man the Giants that is. They're getting after everything.
They've started hungry, haven't they, Ty? Stoppage, middle of the ground, clearance from Callaghan, just rushed it on his boot. Young's at the drop, though, for the Dockers to take the mark on the wing. His kick inboard, took a touch, but got to O'Meara eventually. Hand pass to Clark, couldn't pick it up. Brayshaw arrives to mop it up for the Dockers. Chips it along the ground to half-back for Young. Now a kick forward, down the line. There's Jackson back out there. He can't get to it. Out of play. But most thoughts for the purple at the moment, Tiger and Alicia, are backwards by a hand, where the Giants think forward by foot.
Yeah, well, I think there's something to be said about perceived pressure.
Yeah.
The Giants started hot with their tackle pressure, and Fremantle, particularly Brayshaw, had more time than what he thought, but he just missed the kick because he probably thought he had someone right behind him.
Jackson slips in the ruck contest, allows Briggs to guide it down to Tom Green.
They've got absolutely no space whatsoever. Any stoppage situation or contest situations, the Giants play all over Freo, and you're right. Freo are a good kicking team, but because of the pressure the Giants putting on, they seem to be turning over a lot of the ball. They're just kicking long and hope like this.
Jackson with a handball to Matt Johnson. Fremantle go into attack, but marking it well in defensive 50 is Jack Buckley. Copped a knock to the head for his troubles. He's okay, though. Plays on with a handball to Josh Kelly. Got away from the tackle of Schultz. Gathered himself, kicked to half forward and found Lockie Keefe. And the Giants have a bit of space. Keefe, the backman, playing forward. Sends it into attack. Watching it well, though, is Brendan Cox, who's having another excellent season. He marks deep in defence for Fremantle.
Cox kicks it into the corridor. Brayshaw marks. Still just forward of full back. 3-1 to 1 behind. Giants with the early jump here on Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. As Brayshaw kicks it towards the left half-back flank, looking for Tracy, but it's punched away from him. Just a reminder, night 2 of the Ashes coming up tonight through the ABC Listen app. Look for the red cricket ball button. We'll be here at the footy and keeping you up to date. Richmond and St Kilda to come on our AFL coverage later on this evening. Ball tossed in. Briggs beats Jackson again, but roved by Johnson of the Dockers. Hands it to Jackson. The big ruckman runs through the wing, kicks inside 50 poorly. Came off the instep. It slewed inside 50, and Buckley takes that offensive mark for the Giants.
They'll look to play on again quickly, GWS. They do so to Connor Iden, who gets away from his opponent, but now they put themselves under pressure at centre half-back. Good handball from Ash to just release a bit of that pressure, mopped up though by Banfield on the wing for Fremantle. Goes backwards to Hughes, gets around O'Halloran and kicks the Dockers to right half forward. Underneath it is Walters, but smashing it away from him was Jack Buckley, using his size advantage and getting a pat on the back from his teammates. Boundary throw in half forward for the Dockers.
Sorry about that. Nothing gone past Jack. The last 3 entries for Freo, it's been either mopped up or spoiled, as we saw in this instance from Jack Buckley, that is.
Boundary thrown, and Briggs beats Jackson again. That's a developing story in this game. Hand pass went to Haynes. He's tackled, stolen by O'Meara at the Dockers. Hands it to Brayshaw, tackled by Ash. Just got rid of it. Hands to Sitkowski. Hands it out the back to O'Meara from 55. Kick to the goal mouth and in the pocket. Sturtis wrestling there with Buckley. Buckley does enough to spoil and see the ball out of play for a boundary throw in. Now, competition wide, because he's won a comp, because he's played in the big teams and at the big venues, Luke Jackson is highly regarded, and rightly so. But this young man, Kieran Briggs, is one of the developing stories of the season. Jackson beat him on that occasion. Tap to Sarong, snap on goal, he's missed it. That being said, he's laid one on a platter there for Sarong, and he should have made better of it. It's a behind, 3-1-19 plays 2 points, and we've travelled 26 minutes of the first term.
There's better of the hit-outs, Kieran Briggs, but Luke Jackson, 9 disposals, is giving Fremantle a bit around the ground. But Kieran Briggs is the buzz ruckman of the competition right now, that's for sure. The Giants go short to Lockie Ash in the pocket. He goes back across his own defensive goals to Connor Iden. He's got a man in a dangerous spot in Finn Callaghan, and so the Giants can go up the corridor now from centre half back. Callaghan looks for O'Halloran, and it bounces just in front of his boots. Soccers it away to Callum Brown. He got rid of the football to Toby Bedford. Handball looking for Cornelio. It just bypasses Cornelio. He collects it though, gives a don't argue to an opponent. Handball to Haynes, who snaps towards goal. Off hands now. It's still a bouncing ball inside. Attacking 50 for the Giants. Hayden Young gathers it with composure, gives it to Brandon Walker. He throws it on the boot to left half back it goes. Underneath it is Tracy, couldn't collect it, sits up nicely for Josh Kelly. Gets away from Jackson, backwards to Iden, darts around Walters. Giants into attack again. Underneath it is Keefe, launches at it over his head. Cox will gather for Fremantle. And kick looking for a teammate. Harry Perryman, though, is first on the scene for the Giants. Handball in board to Callaghan, keeps his feet. O'Halloran is wrapped up. Now Tom Green. It's past the parcel in attacking 50 for the Giants, and eventually Fremantle are able to clear.
Just a hat kick from Sarong, but Haynes is underneath to mark 60 out at left half forward. Kicks infield to Whitfield, and 50. Poor old Matt Johnson put a toenail into the demilitarised zone and has penalised 50 metres for it. Oh dear, 38th parallel infringement is my... You guys are sort of new to that one. I use it regularly, the whole North Korea-South Korea divide. Do not go in there or you will get blown up.
That's great.
And it's a 50-metre penalty right on quarter time as well.
Wow.
Right on quarter time, and Whitfield has been marched to scoring range. Somewhat ruefully now, the skipper, Alex Pearce, is going to stand the mark just at the top of the goal square. This for a first quarter goal for the Giants, and Whitfield slams it through. Perfect start for the Giants at home at the showground. They lead by 23 points at quarter time. 4-1-25 plays, no goals, 2 behinds. And that inside 50 count, Garby, what was it at quarter time in the end?
15-10 in favour of GWS, and it's fair to say that a lot of their entries have been much cleaner and provided their forwards with a much better look than Fremantle have been.
2 goals to Jake Riccardi, Toby Green and Lockie Whitfield kicking the others as well. 4-1-25 leads 2 behinds, and if you're late with us, a reminder, no Jesse Hogan for the Giants due to a calf issue, so that's why Aaron Cadman's playing. Ryan England is the sub, and for the Dockers, no Michael Frederick with an ankle issue. Sam Sturt is in, and Neil Erasmus is the sub. Giants by 23 points. Quarter time, first game of what is just a 2-day Saturday here on Grandstand AFL. We'll be back shortly at the Sydney Showground. Hope you're enjoying your footy on ABC Sport.
Gruen is back for a brand new season, analysing advertising, utilising AI, CGI, GPT on your ABC.
What the?
Engaging enhanced Will Anderson technology.
Unsubscribe.
It's the future.
Real intelligence, artificially enhanced.
It's already here.
No actors, AI or actual were harmed during the making of this promo.
Makes me feel so inhuman.
Gruen, back Wednesday, June 21 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Just a hat kick from Sarong, but Haynes is underneath the mark.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
From the middle of the ground, a half forward, Keith meets it and marks at centre half forward, 50 out for the Giants. Kicks to the pocket, he's got a man on, it's Lloyd. Near the boundary, 30 metres out in the right forward pocket. Comes infield, chips it to Toby Green, who was unmarked. Toby Green from 40 metres out, slight angle to the right, pumps his fist as soon as he hits it with his right boot. And that's the first strike for the Orange.
Breaks down for Fremantle. Ash with the quick hands. Now Kellen Ward guides it to half forward and finds Canelio. On his left, he plays on quickly. And on the counter-attack, the Giants have spotted up Riccardi. Kicked 2 goals in the win over North. And he's got one this afternoon with a beautiful kick.
Pearce emerges for the Dockers, wins the footy, hands it to Young, who's tackled by opposite 26 Riccardi. And Age holding the ball. Already got the one. Riccardi strikes beautifully. The Giants have got the jump here big time. It's the hat kick from Sarong, but Haynes is underneath the mark, 60 yards at left half forward. Kicks infield to Whitfield, and
50.
Poor old Matt Johnson put a toenail into the demilitarised zone and is penalised 50 metres for it. This for a first quarter goal for the Giants, and Whitfield slams it through.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Just a hint of natural light left around this twilight fixture. Welcome back to the Olympic Park precinct at Homebush and Sydney Showground. Quentin Hull, Daniel Garb, Ty Kennelly, Alicia Eva and Declan Byrne bringing you Greater Western Sydney and Fremantle. Quarter time, the Giants 4-1-25 over the Dockers, 2 behinds. Later on this evening, it's Richmond and St Kilda at the MCG. In the National Rugby League today, first of 3 games complete. Sydney Roosters have defeated Newcastle by 18 points to 16. Shortly, just up the way here, it's Parramatta taking on Manly Warringah. West's Tigers taking on Melbourne Storm later on tonight. And a reminder, right across the country, Game 2 of State of Origin played Wednesday night in Brisbane, with Queensland leading the series 1-0 and favourites to win at home to keep the shield. Wherever you are on ABC Local Radio and analogue around the country, Andrew Moore and the team to bring that to you from the Cauldron on Wednesday night. But repeating, Roosters 18, Knights 16, 2 more games to come. In the Super Rugby, the Brumbies are battling to stay as the last Australian team in the Super Rugby Pacific competition. Crusaders beat the Blues last night. The men from Canterbury await the winner of the game between the Chiefs and the Brumbies. It's just started, no score as yet. And of course, day 2 from Edgbaston, Australia to resume at none for 14 in reply to England's 8 declared for 393. That's elsewhere. What about here? Tell us more. Ty Kennelly, Alicia Eva.
Well, all the 4 goals the Giants have scored off turnover. They clearly want to go fast, and they've been damaging when they look like going fast off turnover. And the woes for the Freo Football Club, their first quarters, they've only won 1 first quarter in 13 games that they've played, and there goes another one. And it's the first time they haven't scored this season in a quarter. So their first quarter woes have just continued, and I think they've been trying everything in the warm-ups and whatnot. It's been documented the last few weeks about their first quarter starts, but we clearly saw it there. They haven't come to the races whatsoever early in the piece, and the Giants really went at them hard early from turnover. They're allowing them to score, and the Giants' ball use was as impressive as I've seen this year.
Yeah, Fremantle just never looked settled with their ball movement. They started the quarter really trying to find uncontested marks, trying to force it, and then they just looked panicked at other times. So they just need to settle a little bit and try and find some marks inside 50. They've only had 2 for the game.
GWS 4-1-25, Fremantle 2 behind. Second quarter underway and the Giants win it again. Callan Ward to Cornelio. The 1-2 though almost goes awry, but Ward recovered well. To Harry Perryman. He guides it to left half forward. Bedford's underneath it. Got a hand to get it down to Tom Green. Possession number 12 coming up for him. Back to Haynes, who sends a high ball inside, attacking 50. Riccardi had the launch at it. Couldn't mark. Cadman's there. They work it back to the ruckman in Briggs. He snaps on the left. But getting back on the last line of defence is Luke Ryan, and he rushes it through 4A behind. So Fremantle 4-2-26. The Dockers 2 behinds early stages of the second quarter.
Dockers bring it in short. Cox marks in the left back pocket, and he'll chip short to Clark. Still inside defensive 50. Clark hands it back to Young, who chips it to left half back, marked by Schultz. Hands it back to Young under pressure from Whitfield, who kick it towards half forward. Fly there in the pack from Tracy, couldn't mark, but rode by the Dockers, and a quick kick to the goal mouth. Out the back, a chance for Banfield, who is pushed off his kick, pressured off his kick in the goal mouth, and it's a behind.
Taylor came across, it was outstanding off-ball work as a defender. It looked like it was certain goal. Came off his man, slid across and got the spoil out in front of him. Just reached his hand, his right hand across. Outstanding defensive play.
Beautifully described, Tig. 4-2, 26-3 behind.
Super Sammy Taylor. Welcome back to the Giants. What a brilliant defensive act. But the Dockers win it back. Brayshaw and Sarong work it forward, and they found Switkowski inside attacking 50. He'll kick from 45 metres out on an exact 45-degree angle.
Bit more aggressive. Clearly they've got to him a quarter time. The coaching staff, Alicia, hasn't a Fremantle a bit more aggressive. We saw Young through the middle of the ground, and again they're looking to play on a bit quicker.
Yeah, both Young and Brayshaw are involved in those last 2 chains inside 50 then, so they've got going early this quarter.
A new deal signed this week for Sam Switkowski. We'll see him stay a Docker until 2026 at least. Pick 73 in the 2017 draft, looming as a bit of a draft gem. That is across the face, though. It stays in, though. It's pushed back into play. That allows Walters to snap and kick a goal. Well done, Fremantle. They rescued what would have been a behind on the line. It was knocked back into play. Walters has snapped a goal for their first of the afternoon. Now, the umpires are having a discussion. They want to see if it crossed the line before it was knocked back into play for Walters to kick the goal. So we'll go to the arc. And it looks like a very tight call. I'm not sure if the entire ball crossed the line. It was Josh Tracy back there with a quick thinking to palm it down to Walters. And Fremantle should have their first goal of the game.
How good's Walters? He never gives up in it. Small, dangerous forward, half an opportunity, and he puts it to bed. And
well, there's 2 parts of the replay they're looking at here, whether it crossed the line and then whether it was touched.
I reckon it's a goal.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tig. I mean, it's a bit of a cardinal sin in terms of goal line defence there.
Yeah, and now they're looking at whether or not it nicked the post as well. It's a triple treat. I thought it was only 2x2 in the arc. They've gone for 1 extra here.
2x2.
Not over the line, not touched, didn't hit the post. Goal.
3x3.
Confirmed.
The arc's got 1 extra there.
Goal 334 of Michael Walters' career, so he moves off the 3-3-3.
Snapped beautifully there.
Was he seriously on 333 goals?
He was.
Before we had 3 elements of his 334th goal review.
Did you get an Irishman to say it? 3-3-3.
Go for it, Tig. This is your moment.
His third goal.
No toilet humour, Tig. 17 points the difference here. Hope you're having as much fun as we are at the Sydney Showground. Declan down on the boundary.
It's also dropped 6 degrees, so he's looking smart with the long sleeves as well. It's 12 degrees, dropped to 6 in an hour.
Okay.
Take my jumper off up here, it's a bit warm.
I thought you were going to say it's dropped 3 degrees. That would have just rounded that off nicely.
you want to get in touch, 0437 774 774. Briggs with the ruck tap over Jackson in the middle of the ground. Tapped it down to Toby Green. Giants with the clearance. Hand pass to Hainsey. Hand passes wide to the half-forward flank. Cornelio is there. He now kicks to full forward in a big pack. Riccardi, the target, couldn't mark. Henry out the back for the Dockers. Rogue slipped over but gets a hand pass away to Walker. Hand passes to Ryan, who hands it to the left back pocket for Young. Has time to kick the Dockers clear. It's a good kick, marked by Schultz at left half back for Fremantle.
12 disposals now for Hayden Young. He's had plenty of it. Schultz sends it up to half forward. Banfield's underneath it. Whitfield gets in front of him but misjudges it. So Banfield, who watched it well, gets out the back, then slips over. His handball misses Switkowski just inside attacking 50 for Fremantle. Switkowski tries to soccer it forward. Big ruckman in Briggs gets hands on the footy, but it's won back by the Dockers. Henry to Switkowski on his non-preferred right boot means that it goes out of bounds on the full in the left back pocket for the Giants. Fremantle 1-3-9. They trailed GWS, who were 4-2-26 by 17 points.
You just saw Sam Taylor again there, just reach in with that right hand and to force the forward to kick the ball out in the front. It just doesn't give up on it. And great play also by Briggs, the big ruckman, now to fight for that ball.
Perryman with a short inbound. Ash just at the top of the goal mouth is defending. Runs around. Walters on the mark. Advances 15 metres. Kicks to a pack on the wing. O'Halloran the target. 2 against him to spoil. But coming in to help is young Callaghan to win it. Hand it back to O'Halloran. Through hands to Himmelberg. They run to the wing. Hands it to Whitfield. Whitfield kicks the Giants to half forward. Riccardi marks 50 out. He's got a good boot. He's on a very tough angle here. For a moment he was looking for an option.
Yeah, Finn Callaghan on his left foot's probably a better option just inside him, but he missed him.
Centering kick to the top of the goal square. Jackson to the front for the Dockers, made the spoil, can't mark. And then it's locked up in the pack, and we'll see a ball up at the top of the goal square. Giants 4-2-26, Dockers 1-3-9. 6.5 played second term.
Briggs and Jackson. Briggs palms it down to Toby Green. He's watched closely by Luke Ryan, and because of that, there was holding without it. A free kick going the way of Toby Green, the Giants skipper, against Luke Ryan, and he will kick from pretty much directly in front. He does that now, Toby Green, and guides it through for his second of the game. The Giants fifth. They are 5-2-32. Fremantle 1-3-9. The lead 23 points, and Toby has 2.
I was really impressed with the work of Xavier O'Halloran in that passage of play. So I think the Giants had the initial kick in out of defensive 50, and it was kicked long to O'Halloran, who was standing 2v1 under the ball. The ball came to ground, which is, if you're not marking it, got to bring to ground. But then he also crumbed his own work and I guess started that link of handball chain. And I know we've spoken about him a lot this season and how he's matured and developed, but great confidence for a young guy who's been in and out of the side, and he's now solidifying his spot in that high forward role.
Got to be better in D50 as a ruckman now. Briggs is too much of a clean hit to Green. He needed better contest, and he's got the dominance over Briggs, that is, and it gives a free kick. Definitely, he's grabbed forward, and that's what better players do around the goals. You get worried about him as a defender.
Centre bounce. Jackson tapped down but straight to Cornelio of the Giants, who clears it to half forward. Met on the volley by Lloyd. He's tackled by Walker, got rid of it, but the pack falls, and we'll see a ball up 45 metres away from the Giants goal. Thrown into the air. Jackson again, first hand, got a rover that time. It's Sarong, who whacked it on his right boot back to halfway, but met by Iden, who was leading at the football. I think Banfield was his direct opponent, but Iden takes the mark. Chips wide and conservatively to this exciting youngster, Finn Callaghan, in his second season. Runs infield on that preferred left boot from the wing, kicks the Giants to full forward. Briggs and Jackson go up for it, neither can mark. Ground level road by Tom Green, hand pass to Cornelio, tackled by Walker, got rid of it just. Ball spills outside attacking 50. Giants first to meet it though, from 60 out. Ash kicks them wide to the half forward flank, looking for Callaghan, couldn't take the mark. Crashing through Clark for the Dockers, tries to win it, does, but he's wrapped up. And we'll see a ball up left half back for Fremantle, right half forward for GWS.
Briggs and Jackson go at it again once again. Briggs out-muscles Jackson. Fremantle got hands to the football though. That was a slick handball from Switkowski to O'Meara. Henry needed to be quick in getting rid of it. Eventually was. O'Meara finds Amos on the lead at centre half forward. And Fremantle finds a free man in attack. Amos takes his time, now pokes it towards Sam Sturt down there, and he's caught high by Nick Haynes. And Sturt will have a kick from directly in front, just beyond 45 metres.
Tig, you mentioned earlier that Fremantle was sending a forward up to stoppage, so Schultz went up to that stoppage across half-back, and Fremantle so beautifully worked it out through a handball chain through the middle of the ground. Much better ball movement.
It was probably there, the free kick itself, and Haynes, my initial thought, just got him high as he came through in the spoil.
So Michael Frederick, the laid out for Fremantle, denied the chance to play his 50th game. Sam Sturt came into the team on his left boot from directly in front. He has pulled it. Through Foray behind. So the Dockers are 1-4-10, GWS 5-2-32. And we've gone 10 minutes in the second quarter, and Justin Longmuir's mood on the big screen hasn't improved too much.
Sorry, Carby, it's shocking inaccuracy. You're away from home, you've got to start taking these opportunities in front of goal. It's one thing, that your performance is not up to scratch, but when you've got the opportunities like that, you've got to be hitting the scoreboard at least.
Taylor runs in and then kicks short to Himmelberg. Marks and kicks to the wing. Big pack. Dockers win the crumb. It's Young hand passing defensively 20 metres backwards where Ryan has space. He kicks it to centre half back. Walker takes the mark. So they've controlled the footy, but a 50-50 on the wing is now a controlled ball at half back for the Dockers. Happy enough to take their medicine going backwards. Kick is wide. O'Driscoll marks. He's still defensive side of the wing. Pointing forward and taking his time, O'Driscoll, and mis-hitting his left boot, putting it at 2 metres beyond the boundary. That is a shocking kick. Out of bounds on the full. G'day to Kane, who's driving from Karratha to Perth, loving the commentary, and go the Giants. Now, either Kane's a very rare GWS fan in Western Australia, or he's an Eagles fan liking the noise of the Dockers getting done.
It's probably the latter, I think.
That was a shank from O'Driscoll. Allows Tom Green to collect possession number 14. He's third in the comp for average disposals.
It's his ground ball stuff that's been elite today. My God, it's been epic watching him actually being so clean on the ground.
10 ground ball gets for Tom Green. The Giants have turned it over. Nice mark at left half back by Nathan O'Driscoll. Can he make up on that mishap with the boot before? He does, up to the wing. Fife gets to the front of the pack, potentially caught high by Buckley. Umpire says play on. Whitfield picks up the crumb, goes backwards to Ash. He makes Iden work. Haynes is supporting him though. They go out wide, the Giants, and Brandon Walker leads Daniel Lloyd to the football and punches it over for a boundary throw in. Right half forward for Fremantle, who trailed the Giants by 22 points.
If you want to get in touch, 0437 774 774. Please send us your name and what you're up to on this Saturday. Well, you're listening to us. Keith doing battle with Tracy. Keith taps down clearly to Kelly. Clearance Giants. He whacked it on his boot wide to the half-forward flank. Pitches in front of Riccardi. Bounces over his head, unfortunately for he. Fortunately for Pearce, he's gathered but tackled and hand pass turned over. Pinched by Riccardi. Given to Kelly. Kick semi-smothered. It goes back to him. Hands it out the back to Cornelio. Hands to Keith just forward of the wing. Now the kick inside 50 for the Giants. Over the head of Riccardi. Tig liked it for a moment, but cleaned up by Young of the Dockers. Hand pass to Walker. Dump kick clear again from the right half back flank. Picked up on the wing by Tracy. The Dockers have got it. They've made hard work of it. Hand passes to Johnson. Hand pass back to the centre of the ground for Clark, and Clark's kick wide is marked by Walters forward of the wing.
Walters just his second disposal. Kicks Fremantle into attack. A launch and a grab from Nat Fife. The two-time Brownlow medalist winding back the clock with a massive grab and 50 to go with it. So he'll cap off the huge mark with a goal from directly in front.
Beautiful see the old man. It's a nice contested mark, and he was sitting there, and
Fife got the sit. Fife launched, brought it down. 50 paid, and the Dockers have their second goal on the board. They are 2-4-16. GWS 5-2-32. Isn't it great to see the legend pull off something like that?
It's so good to see it. And Harry Himmelberg, we're just watching the replay here. Harry Himmelberg didn't look happy, and I think for a change, someone was taking a hanger over him.
I think he was complaining about the push in the back, that he got pushed in the back. Himmelberg, and that's the 50 for. He was demonstrating with the mouthing off to the umpire, and it was a push in the back. He's got away with it, but obviously his body language is not great towards the umpire, which we saw. And
that's the probably common sense use of the dissent rule. There was no thought of it was straight vehement protest in an unfashionable manner from Double H, which cost him a $500 and ensured Fife got the goal to go with it. Great mark. Dockers needed it. 16 the dip. Centre bounce. Tracy's in ruck against Keefe. They battle on at ground level, picked up by O'Meara of the Dockers. No clean possession. Ball's rumbled to half forward for GWS, and the up will come in and ball it up.
Well, they've gifted Fife one there because we know the one concern on him is he's kicking for goal.
Yeah.
Side attacking 50, he was gifted it.
Good point. Garvey from the stoppage. Bedford wins the stoppage for the Giants. Hand pass to Lloyd. Hand pass wide to the boundary. Cornelio picks up. Has time. He's 40 out. Doesn't go for goal. Centre in kick. Bounces to Kelly. Hands to Riccardi. Riccardi snaps high and across the face. Behind. Riccardi has 2 goals, 1, and the Giants 5-3, 33 to the Dockers, 2-4, 16. 15 played second term.
Didn't Kelly do that really well? He held on to the football, waited for the defender to come, and then gave the handball to Riccardi and put the block on, allowing the space to have the shot. Great composure from Kelly.
Giants lead by 17 points. Brendan Cox sends it out of defensive 50, but GWS wins it back. Ash and Keefe, a sweeping handball from Keefe to Callum Brown. His kick is just wide of the intended target in Cadman. And getting back there to mark inside his own defensive 50 is Sarong. He goes short to left half back and finds Liam Henry, who's getting a run back in this Dockers side. Liam Henry, pick 9 in the draft of a couple of years ago. Goes short to Clark, and now they switch it out to the outer wing. Bounces in front of Hughes, gathers it now and gives it to Hayden Young. He doesn't have too many options though, and he's turned it over straight to Toby Bedford.
Wants to play on quickly, runs around the man on the mark, kicks it to the pocket. He's got options of plenty. Lloyd's in the right spot. Delivery was good and the hands were true. And Dan Lloyd is the beneficiary of that bad turnover kick from Hayden Young. And now the Giants have a shot at goal.
Looks like going to be another turnover goal. You know, the front half pressure has been elite. He's trying to bite off a bit too much there, Young. But again, Bedford didn't get back off the mark. He didn't slow himself up. He knew he wanted to get that ball inside 50 where the Giants were streaming forward. And he's executed it really well. And let's see if Lloyd can execute the goal here.
Just the 3 goals this year for Daniel Lloyd. Slight angle to the left, 40 metres out. A man of his experience and class would be expected to kick the goal. Strikes it beautifully on the right. And the goal ump doesn't move. Right over his cap. And Greater Western Sydney back out by 23 points at 6 goals, 3-39 to 2-4-16. Quentin Hull, Daniel Garb, Ty Kennelly, Alicia Eva up in the box, Declan Byrne down on the boundary. And loving your messages coming through. There's quite a few people driving around, but among the glad of them, thank you to Lisa, driving from local footy and netball. She's driving home. Anthony travelling between Horsham and Bendigo, but you can't beat this one. Ian and Megan are listening in a taxi in India where it's 41 degrees.
Oh, brilliant.
And the heat's even more. You thought the heat was on you guys. Nah, they say go Dockers. The heat's on the Dockers here. They're 23 points down.
Yeah, they've got a lot to do. The Dockers not looking great at all for them. You know, the Giants' execution from set shots has been elite. They've 5 straight from set shots, and their turnover stuff has been fantastic. It's continued on from last week's game against North Melbourne. There are a lot of turnovers in the front half.
The Giants 6-3-39, Fremantle 2-4-16, and guess what? GWS win it out of the middle again. Callan Ward with the hat kick, spirals to half forward. O'Halloran came out to meet it, couldn't collect it. Liam Henry does at ground level for the Dockers. He's quick. Moves them on to centre half forward, looking for Bailey Banfield. Watching him well is Iden. Gives it back to Henry, though. A poke down the corridor finds Switkowski, and he's hit up Jai Amos. In fact, it's Sturt who got some separation on Harry Himmelberg. So Sam Sturt will have another shot on goal after missing one a few minutes ago. He'll kick from 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, nicely done. As a forward, his forward craft there. He's running back hard towards goal and he's doubled back for that little tick lead on Harry Himmelberg, putting no body on him and allowed him the space coming back toward the ball carrier. But he said this is his 3rd shot at goal now.
Sam Sturt looking for his 4th goal of the season. The Dockers need this badly. On his left, that is a much better effort. He snuck it home. And Fremantle at their 3rd of the game. They are 3-4-22, trailing the Giants by 17 points. They are 6-3-39, 19 minutes gone in the 2nd quarter.
There's a stats machine working there. I think
it's slow. It's Alicia, slow. We've had a reboot during the 2nd quarter.
Well, Fremantle have been, in terms of scores per inside 50, I think their percentage is quite high. I mentioned at the start of the game centre bounce and how critical that is, and how strong Fremantle have been in the last month. They're actually losing centre bounce 6-1. So if they can win it in the middle and get it forward, I mean, you don't have to be a genius. They're scoring at a pretty high rate when they get it inside 50. They're just struggling to get it in there often.
Yeah, they've had 11 shots from 16 inside 50. It's gone just under 70%, so it's clearly effective inside.
Great work,
Garby.
fast. Garby somewhere to get the laptop up and going again. Can the Dockers get going off the back of that Sturt goal? Centre bounce, another clearance to the Giants. They flare it out to the wing. It's kicked forward by Callaghan towards the half-forward flank. Keith the target, a couple of beat. Hand passes in field, though. Stolen by O'Meara of the Dockers. Given to Young. Clearing kick, went to half-back. Whistle on play. Free kick's going to go against Johnson, who's having a bit of a tough day of it so far. And Brown...
have a shot.
Can he kick it that far?
He actually can.
Yeah, I'll be telling them have a ping at it.
I think he'll do the selfless thing and go top of the square, but he actually can kick this far.
52 metres out, and Alicia calls it. Selfless kick. To the pocket, juggle once, twice. Mark not paid to Briggs. Roving is Keith near the boundary. Snaps and kicks a point.
I wanted Callum Brown to roost it. He could kick it into row 5 from there if he wanted to.
18 the diff, 6-4 to 3-4.
It's actually scary how far he can kick the football off one step.
That half kick just went 50, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Luke Ryan will go short to Jordan Clark. Left back pocket for Fremantle. They've pegged back the quarter time margin by a goal, but there's still plenty of work for the Dockers to do. Trailing by 18 points. 21 minutes gone in the second quarter. Clark goes short to Luke Ryan, who lifts the football up in his hand to signal a long kick up to the wing. Underneath it is Briggs. Couldn't mark it. Giants have more numbers at the base of the pack, though. Canelio to Ward, and now Josh Kelly back in the team. Put Whitfield under pressure. He bounced off what would have been a tackle, though, and got the ball free, but that allowed Dockers to intercept. Johnson kept his feet, got it to Brayshaw. He squeezes it out to half forward. It'll sit up now for Walters. Run down, though, by Brown, and pinged, holding the ball, and the Giants can play on.
Spillage is picked up by Callaghan, kicks it to half forward, doesn't have a target. O'Meara back there in the time of need for the Dockers. Under pressure, though. Tackled by O'Halloran, got a hand pass to Young under pressure. He just got rid of it, stolen by Kelly, 40 out. Little kick to Canelio, gathers under pressure. Hand pass to the pocket, looking for Cadman. Ryan pinches it for the Dockers, and Fremantle have got it. Although the hand pass from Clark, not great. Stolen by Brown of the Giants. He crashes through. Hand pass, looking for Cadman, finds him, but he's tackled and holding the ball. Holding the ball. Free kick goes to Ryan in the right back pocket.
Good pressure football. Yeah, good pressure football. They kept the ball in the front half again, the Giants, and Free under pressure with the handballs, trying to keep the ball, get the ball out of their P50.
Forward 50 tackles for the Giants has been a real feature.
What about the chest on tackle from Brown?
Yeah.
Ryan short to Jordan Clark, works it up the wing. Whitfield's presented a contest in the pack for GWS, and they've won it back again through Iden. Darts through a pack, kicks looking for Cadman. It's just too far out in front of him. It bounces and goes over the boundary line. In fact, it did so on the full. So Luke Ryan will bring the ball back into play for the Dockers. Leads the competition in rebound 50s, Luke Ryan. He'll add another one to his stat book.
So the ball towards the outer wing. On the head of the pack again once more. Kelly at the ground level for the Giants, wrapped up immediately. No prior as Tracy applies the lock. So a bounce. GWS 6-4-40. Fremantle 3-4-22 on Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. On the stoppage, Kelly the clearance underneath the Giants. Hands it to Ward. The old firm combining. Hands it to Callaghan. Hands it back to Kelly. Holding it on the boundary, trying to run around Sarong. He did well to dribble a little ball back to Callaghan. From 70, kicks it to half forward. Toby Green caught behind. Couldn't mark, but affected a spoil. Switkowski, though, wins the crumb for the Dockers. Hand pass from Clark to Young. Under pressure, he's turned it over. Got rid of the handball. Upstairs, hold on. O'Halloran picked it up for the Giants, and he got taken high. Free kick to GWS. Plenty of tackling pressure in this one at the showground, as O'Halloran is a little hobbled by that last contest. Someone might have trod on his ankle. So he chips it short to Iden, who's 60 metres out at the edge of the centre square. Looking to send the Giants into attack again. It's a high kick to full forward. From behind, Pearce almost took a hanger in defence. Ball spills out the back. Brown's tackled by Young. Ball up. Alex Pearce, inspired by the old skipper.
It was Luke Jackson with the big leap.
Was it?
It was.
My apologies. I saw the mane fly from the back.
They do look pretty similar. Jackson now is to do the ruck work again, opposed to Briggs. Brayshaw's there. Dockers need to clear defensive 50. They do through O'Meara. Smart kick to Schultz. Can Fremantle go now? He picks out Sturt at centre half back. They trail by 18 points. Late stages of the second quarter. Playing on is Clark now. Hits up the big kahuna in Josh Tracy in the middle of the Sydney Showground Stadium. Tracy goes out wide and finds Hughes, and he goes all the way backwards. So that momentum is lost for a moment. Hughes to Brendan Cox. He'll launch it long into attack. High ball. Underneath it is Banfield off hands. Whitfield first to it. Back to Callaghan. The 1-2 with Himmelberg. Left back pocket for the Giants. Callaghan slipped. He's wrapped up by Sturt. The Dockers want holding the ball. They won't get it though. Ball up in the forward pocket for Fremantle.
Dockers have kicked 3 goals to 2 this term. 3 goals the difference at 6-4 to 3-4. 25.5 minutes played second quarter from the stoppage. Fife put his forearm into the face of Ward. High contact to Cal Ward.
He's nicknamed Cement Head, isn't he? So that won't bother him.
Pretty two tough hombres there, Alicia. Ward chips it to full back. Taylor marks and plays on. Long kick towards right half back. Lloyd the target. Spoil came from O'Driscoll. Ricochet out the back, rolling towards the boundary line. O'Halloran engaged in a clattering contest there with Hughes. The oohs and the ahs, the crowd, and the ball goes out of play. And a boundary throw in with the natural light all gone now on this Saturday twilight affair on the East Coast. Just past 5:30 local time here. Greater Western Sydney by 3 goals. Briggs nudges Jackson under the drop. Clean possession, but his kick smothered in the stoppage. Ricochets to Fife. Dockers ball on the wing. Hand pass to Henry. Steps in field around Kelly. Henry kicks Fremantle into attack. Himmelberg meets it to knuckle it away though for the Giants. Only to Sarong. 50 out off a step. Kicks to a vacant goal mouth, but Haynes is tracking back for the Giants and marks it in the last line of defence.
Plays on quickly, Nick Haynes. They've done this all game. The Giants, whenever they've won it back, it's been a slingshot the other way. They spot up Tom Green at centre half-back. Now he'll get going. Around Brayshaw. Handball inboard to Whitfield. To left half forward. Looking for Cadman. Did well to make a contest, Cadman, and guide it down to Josh Kelly off that beautiful left boot from 50 out. Kelly has kicked it. Oh, welcome back, Josh Kelly. A masterful effort from 50 out on the angle. Slots it and sends the Giants back out to a 24-point lead.
He's a superstar. His second quarter of football has been unbelievable. His clearance work, how clean he's been. His first game back in that many weeks. But also Whitfield's second quarter. He's got his hands in the ball and he's given a lot of drive. But Kelly's been outstanding second quarter of football. How clean he is. His clearances, he's up to 4 clearances, 8 ground balls, 17 disposals and a goal. For a bloke that's been out of football, and we're worried about the impacts not playing football is going to be for a senior player.
Well, here's a complete aside because of the song they're playing after the goal. If you haven't seen the fun biopic, it's great.
Okay.
Saw it before the weekend.
Yep.
Talking about guys coming back, you know.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
John Farnham, that's a really bad sort of trying to make a segue and connection there. But anyway, good flick, good goal. It's the Giants by 4 goals. Centre bounce. Fife under the contest. Tackled off it by Briggs. Oh, holding the ball. That is hot.
This is...
no seniors discount there or allowances, Alicia?
This is just a demolition out of centre bounce for the Giants at the moment.
Briggs kicks the Giants back into attack. Back of the packet. Bounces off Cox's chest. And guess who pinches it? Toby Green into an open goal and another for the Orange. Toby's got 3. Bang, bang for Kelly and Green as the Giants go out by 30 points. And that is goal 300 for Toby Green. 5 the diff at 8-4, 52 to 3-4, 22.
Just a follow-up work from the big man. You know, Briggs, he's looking a bit tired back into the quarter, but his follow-up work in the Cinnabons clearance, and Alicia said it, the dominance in the Cinnabons clearance. But we're just watching the replay. There's a lovely tap on here from Cadman. Just was in the contest, never gave up in the contest. Was beaten it initially, followed up, and a lovely tap. He won't get a stat for it, young Cadman, but a lovely tap. And Toby's got his 3 goals, which he's been averaging this season.
3 already.
Yeah.
The
The Giants' lead is 30 points. Toby Green reaches a big milestone, 300 goals for GWS. Only Jeremy Cameron has kicked more than him in orange. Here go the Dockers, though. Off the bounce, they find Lockie Schultz inside attacking 50. Clean bowls a couple. Banfield slipped over when he had hands on the football. That allows GWS to clear through Perryman, who hacks it out of defensive 50. Walker is wrestling there with Daniel Lloyd. And it's a ball up on the wing down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
In the game last year, Fremantle trailed by 30 points and still won. So hopefully they don't think they're out of it just yet.
In the nation's capital, Declan, indeed, no stoppage clearance from that ball up. Will do it again. Dockers haven't played here since 2017, but that round 23 game at Manuka, where Jesse Hogan kicked 3 goals, but Michael Walters kicked 3 as well as the Dockers won that game. Rushed to half forward by the Giants off the stoppage, but Cox there to repel for the time being for Fremantle. At centre half back, kicks wide to right half back. O'Driscoll marks. So that was the lateral movement. Now the kick down the line forward. Clark gathers on the bounce. He's tackled by Whitfield holding the ball. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You cannot swing them at all these days, Tig. That is a free kick.
Well, this is going to be one that's analysed.
Look, that's the rule. That's the rule. I don't know if it's the rule, but that's the way it's been adjudicated these days. And I know players are holding their head now when they hit the ground on purpose to get the free kick and get the turnover. So that's what's happening. And that's the issue that the competition's going to have as a whole. If you tackle a player and you bring him to ground and the player holds his head, it was after the tackle, actually, when he fell on top of him, Toby Green. I'm not with this at all.
So free kick goes to Clark, who's fine to continue, kicks it to a pack at half forward, and the Giants get a free kick underneath all of that as Cal Ward comes up with the football. It's the Giants by 5 goals, getting close to half time.
We'll wait to see if Lockie Whitfield is cited for rough conduct, but that is in the wheelhouse of these tackles that have been debated heavily around the AFL. Can Fremantle get one before half time? They need one badly. The ball in dispute at half forward. Sarong's there, spills out to Nick Haynes, gets boot to ball, guides it up the wing. But Jordan Clark has now recovered from that tackle and has marked it on the logo. The siren beats him though, and GWS are beating Fremantle badly. 8-4-52 the Giants, Fremantle 3-4-22. GWS looking for back-to-back wins for the first time this season, and they're first at home since round 1. They're on track to do that.
And the 3 goals from Toby Green sees him reach 300. He's now 35 goals for the season. And on 2 of the occasions he was leading goal kicker for the Giants. He kicked 45 goals, so he's looking like he's headed beyond that this year. Sorry, Alicia.
No, sorry. I just noticed the umpire went straight up to Lockie Whitfield, and I think it was Clark, and I think you'll find Lockie Whitfield is on report.
Well,
sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a very important interruption. Declan, you might be able to help us out.
Well, we're worried about Jordan Clark at the moment, but Matthew Johnson was also in the hands of physio. He's going down a bit early with the doctor, so potentially getting a concussion test as well for the Dockers.
Okay. Thanks. So a bit happening. Goal kickers, 3 for Green, 2 for Riccardi, singles to Whitfield, Kelly and Lloyd. And the Dockers 3 goals all coming in that quarter, all singles to Walters, Fife and Sturt. 8-4-52 leads 3-4-22. Let's take a moment. It is half-time and it is fresh in our minds. These tackles, Tig, I think the game needs to replace the L with the W. It's no longer a sling that's against the law of the game. It's a swing tackle. Any type of rotation, you're getting penalised for it at the moment, even if you don't sling them to the ground. If you swing them around your body, you're in strife.
It's going to take years and years to try and change that technique from a footballer's point of view, because you're in a natural instinct to actually get the tackle, and that was it. It's hard to tackle someone without slinging them. If you're held up, I don't know how you actually can tackle a player without slinging them whatsoever. So if you're both standing up and a player's trying to get away from you, you're just going to stand here. You're actually trying to have to get around him to try and sling him and hold on to him and get the ball off him. So what they're asking the players for mine is too hard. It's too difficult to do. And I'm over it, to tell you the truth. I'm sick of it every week. Every AFL club will just keep challenging, go into the tribunal and just challenge and challenge it. It's embarrassment in our game.
Alicia?
Look, it's from what I saw, I think it looks like Lockie Whitfield is on report just from the umpires going over. I could be wrong, but we'll find out. But look, I think there is, from a playing perspective, You do need to take extra care in the tackle, but there is a bit of inconsistency now with how we coach tackling and what you can and can't do on game day. And sometimes momentum, and as Tyke said, if a player's trying to get round you, it is very hard not to have that swinging motion in the tackle. The other thing is, once upon a time we used to teach tackling around pinning an arm so a player can't dispose of the footy. If you pin an arm now and you sling, you put a player in a vulnerable position, so it changes that concept as well.
There's the lack of pinning now as well, that you don't even have to pin the arms. And incumbent on me, a bit of mea culpa, this is exactly what I was doing last night. I called the Jared Berry tackle on Will Hayward, and now twice in back-to-back games I've gone into the motion of calling wonderful tackle holding the ball, only to have to pull myself up. So my apologies if I'm slow on the educative process, but does this seem to continue to be changing, Ty?
That's right, it does. And look,
we are conduits to the fans,
right.
just trying to do the right thing to convey the story of the game to the fans, and
I find it impossible to do.
Maybe the AFL needs to come out and give a directive or send a video.
The lack of voice from the AFL has been... That's what's worrying me. There's actually no clear guidance from anyone in the AFL around what the rule is and what's happening. Come out and tell the players you cannot sling anyone to the ground, or tell us what you want. I'm just looking at these kids out here. I got 3 young kids at home, and I do not know. I've played football at the top grade for 13 years, and I don't know how to tackle someone. And I don't know how to educate my kids or my young kids' team that are playing football on how to tackle now. So how are people supposed to adjudicate? How are people supposed to support their team? How are people supposed to understand what a tackle is in our game now?
And skinny in the game, I'll admit, I've got a 14-year-old boy who's in his 3rd year of umpiring AFL football, and he loves it. And I want him to be able to have a future, to enjoy it with a clear path as to how it's done. And when we go to the footy at the top level, and we've been around forever, you and I, Ty. You only need to look at our hairline to know that. And we're not sure what's going on. How can anyone else?
I understand, and we understand what they're trying to do. Okay, we get it, and we get the head is sacrilege, and the concussion pieces. But there's an area and a grey area in this that they need to clear up, and they need to communicate both to the players so the players understand what's going on, and us as fans and supporters in the media know what is right and what is wrong. And the umpires can't adjudicate it because this is what they're told. Any player that's brought to the ground now, you're just going, oh well, he's going to be suspended. So, what do you coach him? Don't bring anyone to the ground?
Tackle the ground.
I'm trying to see if there's any type of confirmation, Alicia, but nothing coming through as yet.
And I just hate that we're talking about it every week. It's driving me nuts. We should be talking about the spectacle of what the Giants and the way they're playing their football is. But every week, same thing last week when the Swans were playing, we were commentating the Swans Nick Blakey tackle. Like, it's driving me nuts, the fact that we're spending so much time talking about this.
Yeah, thanks, Ty. If you've got a thought, 0437 774 774. The score, 8-4-52 to 3-4-22. We will get to our halftime commitments in just a moment. But Garby, did you have something on the...
Well, just some of the possession numbers that may be of interest. Josh Kelly, so his first game back after missing a month, 17 disposals, 9 of them contested, 4 clearances, 3 score involvements and a goal. I mean, he's picking up from where he left off, having a very good campaign, Josh Kelly. Tom Green, 17 possessions, Canelio, 16. So the 3 prime movers who are putting up big disposal numbers for the Giants this season, all at it again today. And Briggs has been bullying Jackson in the ruck, but Jackson does have the 10 disposals. Hayden Young busy across half-back for Fremantle with 17 possessions, but they can't get the likes of Amos and Walters and Tracy and Banfield into the game at all in forward 50 at the moment. And Sam Taylor back there has made a couple of big interventions as well for the Giants, and they are holding firm with that 30-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, and thanks to colleague Clint Wheeldon, who's just sent me explanation of the MRO's view on the Berry tackle last night in transit. I didn't catch that up, but Berry's clear because, and I quote, it was the view of the MRO that Berry discharged his duty of care in the manner he took Hayward to ground, and that his actions were not unreasonable in the circumstances. No further action was taken. So we are in this grey area where the umps have sort of got to pay a free kick and got to report, and then we get
nothing out of it. So it's not a free kick.
So there's the game.
It's not a tribunal. It's not.
There's the game day layer where we're not concerned. There's the MRO layer, which then becomes further grey area when the appeal overturns them. So It's. By the way, Sam Wicks has got 2 weeks for that elbow into the jaw of
clumsy, wasn't it? Ryan
Lester last night. Sorry, Alicia. No, you're okay. All well and done.
The other thing I'll say my last point on it is the players playing for it now. And the free kick, when the players are in the tackle, they've got on, just hold their head, get up, they're going to get a free kick no matter what's happening. So you're bluffing the umpires as such.
Okay. On that, we'll take a break. Greater Western Sydney lead Fremantle 8-4-52 to 3-4-22. 30 points the lead to the Giants at halftime, as mentioned, if you've got to say 0-4-3-7. 7-7-4-7-7-4. Auskick kids are out. Gorgeous night for Twilight Footy in the Homebush precinct. We'll be back after the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The Prime Minister says a new $2 billion spend on social housing will help relieve pressure on waiting lists within a few years. The funds will be distributed across states and territories in coming weeks. The government is currently locked in negotiations with the Greens over the separate Housing Australia Future Fund. Anthony Albanese says there's a clear and urgent need for more homes.
This is money for public housing. What we've seen is a decline by 0.5% in the proportion of homes in Australia that are public housing. We want to turn that around.
Federal opposition leader Peter Dutton has told party members that while the Liberal Party may be down, it's not out. Party officials from around the country have gathered in Canberra for a federal council meeting, electing new party leaders and voting on policy platforms. In a speech to officials, Mr Dutton identified government overreach, falling home ownership and identity politics as threats to liberalism, and he assured those gathered that the party will return to power.
In the cycle of politics, as we all know, friends, parties will be down but they're never out. And we've been here before and we came back. And I promise you we will come back again. We should ignore all the noise from the commentariat who say that this is the end of the Liberal Party.
Islamist militants have killed at least 25 students in an attack on a school in Uganda. Larry Buttrose reports.
Ugandan police say the assault occurred in the country's west, just 2 kilometres from the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. They say militants linked with the Islamic State group targeted a secondary school, burning a dormitory and looting food. At least 8 people injured are reported to be in a critical condition. Police also say dozens of students are believed to have been abducted by the militants. A number of countries in sub-Saharan Africa, including Nigeria, Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, have been grappling with a long-running Islamist insurgency.
Around 500,000 people living in parts of southwestern Pakistan are suffering through an extreme heat wave. The temperature last week remained between 47 to 50 degrees Celsius, with no reliable electricity supply to keep temperatures inside homes at a comfortable level. Residents are also bracing for flash flooding following a cyclone that hit western India and southern Pakistan, killing 2 people. A truck driver in the US state of Pennsylvania has been convicted of a shooting attack on a synagogue that left 11 people dead. Robert Bowers could face the death penalty over the attack on the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh in 2018. The co-president of the Tree of Life congregation, Joe Recht, says he can never be forgiven.
I am feeling a sense of relief that after 4.5 years, the world has heard again about the horrific acts on October 27, 2018, and the shooter is being held accountable for those awful acts.
SA Health has confirmed that Geelong AFL captain Patrick Dangerfield was ramped at the Royal Adelaide Hospital on Thursday while waiting for treatment. The former Adelaide Crows star suffered a partially collapsed lung and a cracked rib in a marking contest during the match against Port Adelaide. He eventually underwent scans and assessments, but it's unclear when he will be able to play again. A health department spokesperson said in a statement that patients are always treated according to clinical need and no person is ever provided with preferential treatment. About 200 counter-protesters have drowned out opposition against a storytelling event in Perth hosted by a drag artist. Kason Ho has more.
Performer Cougar Morrison hosted a children's book reading event at the Maylands Library. It was met with dozens of protesters who said they were there to protect the children. Counter-protesters turned out in force to show their support for the Drag Storytime event and the wider LGBTQI+ community. The demonstrations were scheduled to occur during the Storytime event, but Morrison told the ABC the event was secretly rescheduled to earlier in the morning due to security concerns.
This is ABC News.
The brilliant minds from the Nation Building Authority are back.
Our fridge has got an address book. It's got the lot. Has it got cold milk? Not yet.
And there's a lot to unpack.
Who's been asking?
We have.
What?
Us.
Who?
Me.
Why?
I'm lost again.
With Rob Sitch, Kitty Flanagan, Celia Paquola and the whole office.
This is in the cone of silence.
Under your hat. It's already on the radio.
All new Utopia.
What have these clowns been doing? Building for the future.
8 p.m. Wednesday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Sam Swikowski. That is across the face, though. It stays in, though. It's pushed back into play. That allows Walters to snap and kick a goal. Well done, Fremantle. They rescued what would have been a behind on the line. It was knocked back into play. Walters has snapped a goal for their first of the afternoon. Briggs palms it down to Toby Green. He's watched closely by Luke Ryan, and because of that, there was holding without it. A free kick going the way of Toby Green, the Giants skipper, against Luke Ryan, and he will kick from pretty much directly in front. He does that now, Toby Green, and guides it through for his second of the game.
Clark's kick wide is marked by Walters forward the wing.
Walters just his second disposal, kicks Fremantle into attack, a launch, and a grab from Nat Fyfe. Oh, the two-time Brownlow medalist winding back the clock with a massive grab, and 50 to go with it, so he'll cap off the huge mark with a goal from directly in front. Great to see the legend pull off something like that. Handball inboard to Whitfield, to left half forward, looking for Cadman. Did well to make a contest, Cadman, and guide it down to Josh Kelly off that beautiful left foot from 50 out. Kelly has kicked it.
Briggs kicks the Giants back into attack. Back of the packet, bounces off Cox's chest. And guess who pinches it? Toby Green into an open goal and another for the Orange. And that is goal 300 for Toby Green.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
It was the last scoring play of the first half where Greater Western Sydney established a 5-goal lead over Fremantle. Welcome back to the showground in the Homebush precinct. Quentin Hull and the team with you for Grandstand AFL through ABC Sport. Greater Western Sydney, 8 goals, 4-52. Lead Fremantle 3-4-22. That was after the Giants led by 23 points at quarter time. So GWS winning both the first and second terms. Giants 4 goals, 3 to the Dockers, 3 goals, 2 in that quarter. 3 goals for Toby Green, 2 for Jake Riccardi. No multiple goal kickers for the Dockers. Just before we get to your texts, which have lit up at half-time, as expected with the issue of the officiating of tackles at the moment, but around the grounds in the NRL earlier this afternoon, the Roosters defeated Newcastle by 18 points to 16. Currently, it's Parramatta taking on Manly Warringah, and 24 minutes in, the Eels 12 lead the Sea Eagles 4. To come later this evening, the West Tigers take on the Melbourne Storm. And half-time in the second of the Super Rugby Pacific semi-finals. The Chiefs of Waikato hosting the ACT Brumbies. The Crusaders await in the final. It's Chiefs 6, Brumbies 3 at half-time. Low-scoring affair there. Chiefs 6, Brumbies 3. And later on this evening, it will be Australia resuming at none for 14 in reply to England's 8 declared for 393. Full coverage of the men's and women's Ashes on the ABC Listen app. Just look for the red cricket ball button. Now, your messages, 0437 774 774. And that news, by the way, around Jared Berry had only dropped a couple of moments ago. So he's clear after that report on the tackle from Hayward from last night. And keep it clean, guys, please, with these text messages. the problem is with litigation with head injuries. Maybe you have to sign a waiver to play. Unnamed. Please send us your names if you're texting us. John from Darlington texts, it's not too hard. Don't drive someone's head into the turf. I wouldn't want my sons on the receiving end. Clarification done. Common sense. Thank you, John. There is, boys, please just commentate the game. Forget about the rules. It's an umpire decision, and I also get the feeling I'm listening to a continuation of the broadcast from last night. Oh, thank you, Brian. Well, commentating the game, these are what the fans are speaking about. We are but your ticket to the game. We are but a conversation of you, fellow football fans, and this is what is a topic of conversation at the moment. Julian from Croydon, who's a local footy umpire, texts, there are hundreds of fair tackles every weekend. A handful are adjudicated as dangerous. No need for hysteria. How do you coach for it? Tig? Keep it simple. No second action. If there's no second action, it's almost impossible for a tackle to be dangerous. I think Wayne from Western Australia says, hi guys, you're complaining about inconsistency of ruling regarding tackles, but you also said 2 Freo players might be undergoing concussion tests. Player welfare is paramount, or there is no spectacle. Regards, Wayne from Western Australia. There's some saying that helmets should be made compulsory. Brad from Dongara says, hey boys, they've stuffed the game. Thank Christ the cricket is on. 0437 774 774. We get all of this. The one thing that I'd like to leave with, Tig, is the way that the fans are engaging with the rules, and it's about communication. Free kick was paid last week. Jared Berry's on report. 24 hours later, he is cleared to play. Now, that is what we don't mind, mistakes are okay, but at the same time, I think fans want to have some type of buy-in of an understanding of what passes muster from week to week, and perhaps that's the biggest confusion at the moment. Where's the communication?
Even in those text messages, there is that much confusion in the text messages themselves and what people are actually saying, and there's a prime example of what's happening with the rule itself, that we've had 10, 12 text messages in, and they've all been very different in their adjudication and how it should be adjudicated.
If you're just joining us, that discussion is off the back of a Lockie Whitfield tackle on Jordan Clark that would be deemed rough conduct under the guidelines at the moment. We believe he's been placed on report. Lockie Whitfield is certain to be another big talking point during the week. But we've got a big second half of football coming up from Giant Stadium. The home side are 8-4-52, looking for back-to-back wins for the first time this season. The Dockers are 3-4-22. GWS all over Fremantle. Second half underway now. And Kieran Briggs, who is dominating the ruck, palms it down to Tom Green, who's dominating the clearances. He gives it to Kelly, who's had an excellent first half. Giants go inside 50. Alex Pearce is watching it for Fremantle. It bounces the way of Luke Ryan after Pearce failed to mark. And the quick kick out of defensive 50 is marked by Liam Henry. He looks into the corridor straight away for Luke Jackson, who doesn't mark one that he should have, but he's able to recover. Handball to Brayshaw. Has Jackson in support. Gets around Cornelio, but then goes back to Brayshaw. The Dockers making it hard for themselves at centre-half back. Brayshaw's handball to Walker. The 1-2, Walker gets it back. They've done this well, Fremantle. Walker gets it for a third time, this time off Henry. Eventually gets the kick away into attack, but Connor Ryden is watching it and marking it in defensive 50. His kick short finds Tom Green. He had it spoiled away from him, but it was a slapping of the arm. So a free kick to the Giants, who work it out to right half back, and now up to the wing for Lockie Keefe. Still leading by 30 points. GWS started the third quarter. Keefe finds Lloyd, who has a bounce right half forward. Kicks the Giants deep into attack. Cutting across is Jackson. That is smart work from the Fremantle ruckman, marking deep in defence.
Kicking very conservatively to the pocket where Ryan takes the grab and kicks it across the face of goal. Oh, it just was kept in play by the reaching arms of Brennan Cox. Had he not caught it, it was going to go over his head and out of bounds on the full, but he catches it, makes good of the kick. Now kicks it beyond defensive 50, over the head of the pack. Ball rolls to the wing, chase on between Walters and Ash. Ash wins it for the Giants. His hand pass smothered by Brayshaw over the boundary line, not far away from Declan Byrne.
Jordan Clark is back out there, so he's cleared to play after that Whitfield tackle, and so is Matthew Johnson on the bench. Good to come back on.
Okay, thanks, Declan.
Surprise, surprise.
Ball tossed in I want you coming off the long run with the new Dukes ball for Australia, your adopted nation, Tig, because you've got a head of steam up at the moment from the clearance ball kicked out of play.
You might get a game for Ireland the way in which they lost to England.
Exactly. Get him to Lords for the next test, where Ireland lost there.
Hey, you haven't won the Ashes since, 2001 in England?
In England.
It's been a while there, you're right. Throw in.
Piped on you lot.
Left half forward for Greater Western Sydney. Tom Green had it slapped away from him, picked up by Fife of the Dockers. His hand pass, not effective early on, but it got to Brayshaw. Won the ball, hands it to Henry, kicked to half forward for the Dockers. Looking for Johnson, spoiled away by Taylor. Ground level, numbers with the purple. Banfield's hand pass, Miss Henry, turned over. Cornelio steals it, hands it to Ash. Ash runs the wing and takes on his opponent. Has a bounce, but Brayshaw got him. Run him down. What a great tackle. Wow. Oh, Ash stared him in the eyes, Alicia. Took him on, but Brayshaw says, nah, I'm going to nail you.
That's massive from Brayshaw. Lockie Ash has got a definite set of wheels there. He's super quick. So for Brayshaw to hang in there and get an arm and pull him down, that's sensational.
Maybe that can get Fremantle going. They need some inspiration. The Giants win it back, though, on the wing. Kelly, clever handball to Cornelio. Back into attack. GWS. Over the head of Young, kept his feet though. O'Halloran's with him, and he won out. Excellent kick from O'Halloran on the left, looking for Toby Green. Goes over his head in the contest. Walker's mopping up for Fremantle. Dangerous ball. Hayden Young had a piece of it. So did Finn Callahan. Yeah. I reckon they each had an equal share of the Sherrin. And as a result, we'll have a ball up just outside attacking 50 for the Giants.
And a bit of atmosphere around the venue. It's good to feel the energy of the fans from the stoppage. Green applies a dump tackle on Schultz. No free kick. Play on. I think Green's hurt himself in that tackle. No, Cornelio's down. He's hurt from that previous contest. Meanwhile, Dockers move it to the wing. Schultz runs off half-back, kicks it forward. Mark taken by Amos. And Steve Cornelio's been picked up and is in the hands of a couple of trainers, and he does not look good. As Amos chips in field, Henry marks. Henry kicks over the man on the mark to Brayshaw, too far out from goal. He kicks to half forward, and Sarong takes the grab. And we'll get Declan to keep an eye on Steve Cornelio. I think he's trying to run something off, but he doesn't look great. Sarong from 60. Kicks to full forward for the Dockers and sticky fingers. Is that a mark in the pack to Amos?
Free kick.
Free kick against. Oh, that was a really good mark from Amos. But unfortunately for him, Buckley was offended previously. So a free kick goes to the Giants defender.
Well, I wonder if Cornelio's just winded because the trainer has given the thumbs up to the bench. So Cornelio stays on the ground. That's good news for the Giants. And that's a good mark from O'Driscoll, floating across the pack at left half forward. Better start to the second half from Fremantle. They've come out of the sheds with a bit more spirit about them. Trailing by 30 points still, though. O'Driscoll to the pocket. It's slapped away from the pack. Bounces away from Walker. O'Driscoll hands to Walters. Now back to Walker. 65 out from Fremantle's goal. Darts around to tackle. A high ball into attack. Buckley's underneath it. So is Taylor. The Taylor handball looking for Josh Kelly. Just evades him. We'll have a boundary throw in the pocket for Fremantle. Down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, Cornelio staying out there. The physio came out, sort of rubbed his back around that sort of kidney area where, so yeah, I think it might have just been a winding.
Yeah, it's good news for footy fans and Giants fans. One of the stars of the game, Steve Cornelio, approaching the 200-game milestone. Should reach it all's well before the end of the home and away season. Boundary throw-in. Dockers in attack, no clean possession. Ash had a go at it, lost it under the pressure of Brayshaw, who picks up for the Dockers. Hand pass to Jackson, hand pass to Sarong, all in tight. Hands to Fife, has a fumble, gives it back to Sarong. Now from 50, kicks to the pocket. Walters the target. Haynes makes the spoil. Then Iden tries to spike it clear, doesn't really get it away from the congestion. Walters jumps in again. Lloyd's over him. Gee, it's a tough footy to earn out there. Handed over the head of Tom Green. The Giants get out of it. That was a handball and hope. Cornelio was there at right half back. Kicks it to Whitfield on the wing. Can he break? He can. Has he got the juice to? I don't think so. Didn't have the players upfield either.
Kelly.
Infield. Callahan marks. Hands to Kelly. Bounce to 55. Hand pass infield to Toby Green. 40 out. Chips it to the pocket. And Riccardi marks uncontested. 25 metres out.
Josh Kelly's speed on the ball. Great change of it. Fantastic handball, first of all, from Tom Green over his head. The vision and awareness to see a player in that traffic where he was under pressure with the ball in his hand. That forward handball of over 15 metres to release and into Whitfield. He changed the angle, but haven't seen Josh Kelly this fresh and free moving in a long time, and it's great to see the attacking flair on him.
Riccardi for his third. Hits the post. Far side, high up, behind. Giants by 31, Alicia Eva.
Well, I think Josh Kelly got free off Liam Henry then, so he's come up the ground a little bit, Henry, and has been, dynamic and provided plenty of speed around the ball, which has been good for Fremantle to start this quarter. But just on defensive transition, Josh Kelly's just got way too much space off him then.
The Dockers work it out of their defensive goal square to Liam Henry. The three amigos in midfield for the Giants doing the damage. Kelly, 21 possessions. Canelio, 21. Tom Green, 20. Up to the wing it goes. O'Halloran's there for the Giants. Handball to Haynes. High ball just inside 50. Lloyd is launching at it. Toby Green is marking it in front of Lloyd. The skipper's having another big game. He's got 3 goals to his name. He's registered 300 for his career, and he'll kick for the number on his back, number 4, from 50 out on a slight angle.
Lloyd looked like he was going to launch for it, and actually ended up protecting Green, who was in front of from the opposition defender who was going to spoil it, and was worked out perfect play in the end, where he actually didn't go for the ball, Lloyd, and Green was able to take comfortably enough on his chest.
He is one of the great entertainers of the AFL, Toby Green, the captain of this side, who now has 4 goals for the game because there's nothing he can't do. And that's a beautiful kick from just outside 50. And Toby Green has 4 majors. The Giants are out to a 37-point lead, 8.5 gone in the third quarter.
Well, it's an opposition which comes here with a 50-50 record, but standalone game tie. And Alicia, everyone's sort of looking at every game during the bye rounds, maybe paying a bit more attention. And it's rare that the Giants get this kind of attention, but not such a bad time to remind everyone, hey, we're half a year into a new build under a new coach and got a few key guys back. A couple of big stars firing too.
Absolutely. Toby Green's had an outstanding year. And I think Ty touched on it pre-game. The Giants have been pretty consistent in the first half of this season. There's been that one blowout against Collingwood at the MCG, but they've got a game plan that's stacking up against good sides. Giant supporters will want to see that in the next half of the season.
And alarm bells for the Dockers. Cornelio, the clearance for the Giants. Kicks to half forward. Riccardi couldn't mark under the pressure of the Dockers defence, but O'Halloran picks up for the Giants. Hand pass is stolen by Johnson of Fremantle. Hand pass to right half back to O'Driscoll. Chips infield, misses the target of Sarong badly. Picked up by Tom Green of the Giants. Kicks it inside 50, and a juggling mark taken by Brown. Well within range. It's a wedge for him from 45 metres out.
Another front half turnover, but I'm loving Halloran's game. I love it. He's half forwards looking busy. He's on loose ground balls. He's putting pressure on the opposition. But here's another turnover opportunity in the front half, which has been the clear standout and the style of play, the difference between the Giants this year and last year is their front half pressure and the front half football.
Callum Brown. He is a long range shooter. 50 metres out, make it 49 when he hits it. Got under that a bit, pushed it to the right, and it's a behind. That's a miss, and 38 is the diff at 9.660 to 3.422. Grandstand AFL 10 minutes into the third term on ABC Sport.
Well, it looks like the bye came at the wrong time for Fremantle. Lost at home to Richmond. They are well behind here in Sydney. A season that was tracking well for a moment, in danger of unravelling. Buckley and Ash with a strong tackle on Schultz. The Giants lead by 38. We've gone 11 minutes in the third quarter. Briggs wins another hit out. He's done that all game. Looking for Cornelio. It's off the feet of Johnson, and it's a free kick. We're out of bounds on the full, going the way of the Giants. So they will go inside 50 again, you would think. Callaghan looking for Himmelberg. No, it is picked off. Sits up for O'Halloran, though. With his lower body strength, he keeps his feet, but he's caught holding the ball by Switkowski. Back doing some defensive work from half forward.
So the Dockers need to find something in this third term. Switkowski stagnant from right half back, kicks to a 2-on-2, and Schultz coming from behind had to apply the spoil. But roving is Tom Green for the Giants. Hand passes to Callaghan, hands to Brown. Brown back to Tom Green, runs the boundary left half forward, kicks it to half forward in front. Toby Green couldn't mark, but rode his own crumb. Hand pass, no looker over his shoulder. Didn't have a teammate. It's out of play. It's cute. Audacious.
Watch, isn't he?
He's up and about, isn't he, Toby Green? We'll see a boundary throw in. Left half forward, 50 from the Giants' goal.
Hollywood handballs from the Giants. Tom Green a moment ago at half-back over his shoulder that set up a goal. Toby Green with a beauty there. Dockers win it back at half-back. High ball up to Schultz on the wing, and Jack Buckley does what he's been doing all game, just slaps it over the boundary line. Doesn't matter how small the opponent is against him. He knocks it over with authority, Jack Buckley. Boundary throw in just in front of the wing for GWS.
23 the different quarter time, 30 at half time now, 38 the margin in favour of the Orange. Boundary throw in, Dockers ball. Switkowski out the back, quick hand pass to Clark. Off a step, he bangs it to half forward in a pack. Comes off hands, first to meet it, Iden for the Giants. Hand passes to left half back, taken by, is that Green down that part of the field? No, it's not. It's Ash. He takes it and kicks it towards the wing. Under the pack, picked up by Keefe of the Giants. He kicks it into attacking 50 on the head of Riccardi. Spoil made by Ryan. Halloran Roves tackled by O'Meara. Ball spills free. Lloyd hands it to Whitfield. Another over the shoulder from the Giants with the handball. Ends up with Whitfield. Ward, should I say, on 50. He kicks a turnover. That was a bit too cute. Johnson marks for the Dockers at centre half back.
Inside 50s now, 45 to GWS, 26 to Fremantle. Dockers in all sorts of trouble, and Clark was almost caught, managed to get away from Bedford's tackle, gives it to Brayshaw. Out wide to Hayden Young. Fremantle struggling to get across halfway. Now Brayshaw's mowed down by Bedford, got their hands off though to Hughes. The kick just inside 50, Fife's underneath it. Can't get into the game at the moment, Nat Fife. Taylor watches him well. Finds Tom Green, who gets rid of a couple of tackles brilliantly. What a game he's having. The 1-2 with Himmelberg. Into the middle of the ground, he spots Cornelio, who's recovered well from that knock earlier on. Hits up Whitfield. He's on report for the dangerous tackle on Clark. Now to Callaghan on the wing. Darts inside O'Driscoll. A kick looking for Cadman. The launch and the contest. It hits the turf. Cox manages to find some space and spots up O'Driscoll at half-back.
And he's going to take a moment to try and compose things. Kicks it across the face of goal to the opposite flank. Space for Hughes to grab and transfer to Henry. Marks it left half back for the Dockers. Chips it down the line. Sturt there to take the grab. Between left half back and the wing. Sam Sturt, who came in for Michael Frederick. Down the line to left half forward. 2-on-1 against Tracy. And the man chopping in front, Taylor, takes the mark for the Giants. Kicks it backwards to Whitfield, who marks inside defensive 50. And just this rhythm of the Giants now, they look like they're playing like a team that's in control of the game, and they know it.
Yep.
Kicks it to Ash, hands it back to Whitfield. Now they run it. Himmelberg gave it to Toby Green. What a beautiful chiseled pass. Gets to Cornelio, runs to 55, kicks deep. Riccardi marks it on the goal line. Boy, they are playing with some arrogance almost, Ty.
Yeah.
And I say that in the very positive football sense of the word.
It's the best I've seen him play in a long time.
Riccardi from point blank range slams it through. He's got 3. 44 the diff. 44 the difference. The Giants have kicked the last 4 goals in the game. 11 goals, 5. 60... 11-6, 66 to 3-4-22.
The Giants haven't struggled with avenues to goal today, even with Jesse Hogan out. So Riccardi's doing a job there. But I think we talk about it's probably the best we've seen them play potentially this season. It's both with ball in hand and defensively. The contest, defensively, how they're moving the ball. It's a complete package today. I just feel like every time Fremantle work the ball up to their half forward, the Giants are just repelling on every occasion and repelling fast and scoring off the back of it.
And a great turnover too by Taylor to intercept and looking to come straight through the corridor.
This is the kind of football Adam Kingsley would have craved when he took over at GWS. They lead by 44 points. Socket off the ground by Cornelio, deep into attack. That's an excellent one-hand grab deep in defence by Luke Ryan, who's had the job on Toby Green. That's one of the more difficult tasks in the AFL. Green's got 4. That was a nice mark by Luke Ryan, though. Goes to the pocket for Brennan Cox. He sends it up the wing. Josh Tracy tries to guide it down to Liam Henry. Sarong gets hands to it. Brayshaw is hit hard. Keeps his feet, though. Gets it back to Sarong. And now to Ethan Hughes. Doesn't have too many options. Tries to pick off O'Meara in the corridor. does so at centre half back. He sends it across to the outer side for Matt Johnson. Back into the corridor he goes for Hughes. Can Fremantle make something happen? They need the next goal badly if they are to resurrect a pulse at least in this game. But that is a bad turnover from Brayshaw, and it's marked by Keefe. He's double the size of Liam Henry, and Brayshaw sat it up above Henry's head, and that allowed Keefe to intervene.
Hand passes to Callaghan, uses his left boot from the wing to kick to half forward. Well read by Ryan, leaves his man, affects the contest, wins his own crumb for the Dockers and kicks to halfway. Tracy marks. Hand pass to Sarong, kick to half forward, looking for Sturt. Iden does enough to spoil. Now their support arrives in defence. Hand pass comes to the Giants. Keefe with the ball, kicks it in field, hoping for Ward, punched away by O'Meara, but there's orange everywhere at the full as Cornelio got the hand pass through Buckley. He gave it on to Whitfield. Whitfield's kicked in the middle of the ground. They're going to slice him up the middle again. Marked by Bedford. Bang to fall forward. Getting back in the hole. Pearce did enough to spoil, but there's Rovers everywhere. And Toby's on the end of it. But he's kicked a point. He has kicked a point. Just not curling it back enough with his right foot snap from 40 metres out. Standing count of 8 here. 45 the diff.
Absolutely sieving him through the middle of the ground, winning the contest. It's great to watch.
Not if you're a
Giants fan, that is.
Not if you're a Fremantle fan. This is torture at the moment, and it's coming back again. Riccardi gets it at half forward. Hamble looking for Ward. Fremantle win it back. Jordan Clark darts away from defensive 50, looking for Fife. Does well. Fife to keep his feet. Now tries to get rid of Buckley. Does so. Has a bounce. 55 out to the pocket. He spots up Amos. So finally Fremantle can breathe. Amos has marked it inside attacking 50. And he's hemmed up against the boundary line. He'll kick from the pocket.
There's only the 6th mark inside 50 for Fremantle.
Jai Amos looking for his first goal of the game. Been averaging 3 a game over the last 5 weeks. It's been tough going though in this one for the Dockers. Can he give them something to be happy about? It's a nice effort. It's across the face. It doesn't have the distance. It's still alive, though, inside Fremantle's attacking goal square. And Perryman has wrapped up Sturt, who got hands to the football, so a ball up just in front of the big sticks for Freo.
Tossed in the air. Briggs got Tracy out of the way and knuckles it to Brayshaw, who's tackled by Bedford. Dispossessed. Play on. Spill falls to Perryman. Kicks it clear for the Giants. Roved at half back by Brown. Hand passes defensively to Whitfield. There are options everywhere. Whitfield at half back. Kicks it to Callaghan on the wing. Kicks to half forward to against the target Cadman. And the Dockers conspire against him. Walker takes the mark to hold things up for Freo at half back. Chips in field, marked by Clark. Clark's kick to the middle of the ground where Brayshaw takes the grab, kicks it out wide, and Johnson's got it. But he's on the wing, and the Dockers get to this point, and they are stifled.
It's been all game, and they've been turning it over from here.
So it's a long kick to a contest from the wing from Johnson. Inside 50. Bit of volleyball. Tracy, the big fella, has to try and rove. He's tackled into the deck ferociously by Buckley. Holding the ball. Didn't make an attempt to get rid of it. Free kick to the Giants.
Sorry, Fremantle are having to generate all of their ball movement from intercept across half-back. There hasn't been any forward half turnover, and I know I've been banging on about it all game, but they're not winning any centre clearance, so they're not even getting a hat kick inside 50 that they can set up their defence behind. Giants are spanking them in between the arcs, particularly centre clearance, 12-2. So all of their ball movement is being generated across across half-back, and the Giants have just been picking it off too easily.
And they have so much space again to find Josh Kelly at half-back, up to Toby Green, launched at it. Bedford looked for the crumbs and then puts a strong tackle on Clark. And there'll be a ball up inside attacking 50 for the Giants. It was so easy for them, just moving it out of defensive 50 once again, Alicia.
Ball tossed up, 40 from the Giants' goal. Briggs with the tap. Rove by Sarong, hand pass intercepted though. Kelly hands it to Brown for the Giants. Breaks a tackle. Has a snap. Oh boy. He knows how to kick the rabbit tag. He's banged it through for his first. 51 the difference. 51 points the difference. Greater Western Sydney are serving it up to the Dockers here. 22 minutes third term, 11-7, 73 to 3-4, 22.
Yeah, the pressure and the ground balls and the forward 50 has been exceptional from their half forwards from the Giants' perspective. The pressure they've put on in their front half, but especially their front 50 and the forward 50, getting after the Freo Dockers defenders and midfielders, which is allowing opportunities. They're scoring from very... You talk about Fremantle scoring one avenue. The Giants are scoring from so many different avenues, it's hard to defend.
I should explain the in-joke. What did you call the Sharon when you first came to Australia?
Yeah, rabbit. I referred to it as a rabbit because I'd go for it there and it'd pop over there, and it became known as a rabbit for me to get hold of it.
So that's why I thought the Irishman Brown give Tiger to the old rabbit.
Here's another centre clearance to the Giants here.
Kieran Briggs, the big man, just taking it away as easy as you like and kicking to centre half forward. That just about sums up this game. The Giants doing it all on their terms. Fremantle hapless in defeat at the moment, but can they resurrect something before three-quarter time? Clark through the middle of the ground, spots up Fife. He'll kick from a long way out. He's marked in front of Iden. Gives the handball off quickly to Sarong. Here's a flying shot on goal, and that is a much-needed one for the Dockers. Caleb Sarong from 48 metres converts for his first goal of the game. Fremantle's fifth. In fact, it's their fourth. The margin is 45 points. Fremantle 4-4-28. The Giants 11-7-73 as we get close to three-quarter time. Down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Fremantle have activated their subs. So Neil Erasmus has come onto the field and just coming off Matthew Johnson, who's making his way to the back.
Thanks, Declan. So Matt Johnson coming on for his 9th game of footy. Another West Aussie product, picked up quite high in the 2021 draft, picked 21 in fact in that draft, Matt Johnson, so he's on. He's off, should I say, and Neil Erasmus coming to the team, the 19-year-old for his 9th game, so a 9-gamer replaced by a 9-gamer. That's where I was getting with that one. 45 the difference. Centre bounce, it's Jackson up against Briggs. They neutralise each other, kicked off the ground by Cornelio. Bit of an indiscriminate one. O'Driscoll read it and gets to the drop, and Mark sliding to the ground for the Dockers. So Nathan O'Driscoll chips it back to the bullseye, and there he is. Straight into the action. Neil Erasmus marking in the centre of the showground. Kicks the Dockers to half forward. Tracy leads out and shows good hands in front of the defence to Mark, 60 from goal. He'll kick it towards full forward on the head of Walters, knuckled away by Taylor. Out of play. Boundary throw in right forward pocket for the Dockers. GWS by 23 at quarter time, by 30 at half time, and here we are, 24 and a half into the third term, and they lead by 45 points.
I'd love another one just before three-quarter time. The Dockers, just to give them some sort of enthusiasm before the final break. Walters tries to get hands on it. Taylor's there. Cornelio is tackled by Walters. And it's a free kick for a high tackle, in fact. So Cornelio wins it in the back pocket. Possession number 28 for him. Finds Perryman at halfback. Again, the Giants spot up options with ease. Here's Finn Callaghan. Disposal number 19 coming up for the number 3 pick from a couple of drafts ago. The big talent he is for the Giants. Up to the wing, Jackson's underneath it and marking Luke Jackson. So it's been tough going for him in the ruck. He's given the Dockers a bit around the ground, but in those stoppages, Kieran Briggs has had the better of him by a long way, hasn't he?
He readjusts his headband and now kicks from the wing, a bit of a floater towards half forward. Again, a big pack of players. Ricochets boundary side. Dockers have got half a chance here. Brayshaw kicks it inside 50. Henry flies. Can't take a mark. Ground level cleared by Buckley of the Giants. Whacks it high and well beyond half back. Back to the wing. Jackson flies. Can't mark. Taps it to the advantage of Erasmus. Picks up. Runs to half forward. 70 out. Erasmus kicks the Dockers into attack. Fife the target. Knuckled away by Iden. Roved by Brown. And with his left boot from defensive 50, kicks it to the middle of the ground. Toby Green marks. Pagan's paddock awaits. Riccardi running into the space. Marks rolls on, dribbles it through. Right on the siren. And that's not a tsunami warning, but it might as well be. Because the orange wave is back at the showground. Irresistible stuff from the locals to go to final oranges, 51 points clear. Riccardi has 4. Greater Western Sydney, 12 goals, 7, 79. Over the Dockers, 4-4-28. So with that goal, Riccardi joins Toby Green with 4 goals. Lockie Whitfield's kicked a goal, so too Josh Kelly, Daniel Lloyd and Callum Brown. And for the Dockers, Walters, Fife, Sturt and Sarong, the goal kickers. 23 the difference at quarter time, 30 the difference at half time, and now 51 the difference with the Giants kicking 4 goals, 3 to the Dockers, 1 solitary goal, 1 solitary score in that term. 51 the diff. In the National Rugby League today, earlier game between the Roosters and Newcastle. The Roosters won that one by 18 points to 16. Currently it's Parramatta taking on Manly Warringah. And it's half-time there. The Eels 24 lead the Sea Eagles 4. Tigers and Storm to come in that Super Rugby Pacific semi-final. Into the second half, Chiefs 9 lead the Brumbies 6. Chiefs 9, Brumbies 6. Next up on Grandstand AFL, it's Richmond and St Kilda at the MCG. We'll check in there in just a moment. 3/4 time at the Sydney Showground. It's the Giants by 51 on Grandstand AFL.
Protecting our planet.
Breaking down barriers.
Supporting new migrants and refugees.
Lending a helping hand.
These are some of the ways we became Australians of the Year.
The Australian of the Year awards are nominated by you.
So come on, reflect, respect,
and celebrate
Australians who are making a real difference.
Nominate them now at australianoftheyear.org.au.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Cornelio steals it, hands it to Ash. Ash runs the wing and takes on his opponent. Has a bounce, but Brayshaw got him. Run him down. What a great tackle.
Up to the wing it goes. O'Halloran's there for the Giants. Round ball to Haynes. High ball just inside 50. Lloyd is launching at it. Toby Green is marking it in front of Lloyd. He is one of the great entertainers of the AFL, Toby Green, who now has 4 goals for the game because there's nothing he can't do.
Kicks it to Ash, hands it back to Whitfield. Now they run it. Himmelberg gave it to Toby Green. What a beautiful chisel pass. Gets to Cornelio, runs to 55, kicks deep. Riccardi marks it on the goal line. Riccardi from point blank range slams it through. Ball tossed up, 40 from the Giants' goal. Briggs with the tap. Drove by Sarong, hand pass intercepted though. Kelly hands it to Brown for the Giants. Breaks a tackle. Has a snap. Oh boy. He knows how to kick the rabbit tag. He's banged it through for his first.
Clark to the middle of the ground. Spots up Fife. Kick from a long way out. He's marked in front of Iden. Gives the handball off quickly to Sarong. Here's a flying shot on goal. And that is a much needed one for the Dockers.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Pretty big statement so far from Greater Western Sydney. It's only 1 week in a long season, but this has been the best football we've seen from a team which is showing some new stuff under a new coach, and we're half a year in and the Giants are making a bit of a statement against a team that's in the pack with them trying to fight for a spot in the 8. Welcome back to the Sydney Showground. Quentin Hull, Daniel Garb, Ty Kennelly and Alicia Eva up in the box. Declan Byrne is down on the boundary, and it's Greater Western Sydney leading Fremantle by 51 points at 3/4 time. In lieu of a preview from the MCG, I'll give a traffic report from Punt Road. The traffic is heavy because that's where Matt Clinch is. He's stuck there at the moment. He's been stuck on Punt Road for 30 minutes. So hopefully Matt Clinch will be able to join Jess Webster and the rest of the team for the call of Richmond versus St Kilda, which is coming up later on here. Good luck, Clinchy. But meanwhile, it allows Tig and Alicia to tell you a little bit more as to how we've got here.
Well, that third quarter was all Giants. Unfortunately, if you're a Fremantle supporter, they just owned the territory. Fremantle, when they did win the footy, and they did win plenty of footy across half-back, they just weren't able to, I guess, move the ball forward inside 50. There were very limited occasions. Even the one goal from Sarong, I think, was a kick from outside 50. So it's hard work in between the arcs at the moment for Fremantle. And that's credit to a really strong defensive performance here from the Giants, a really strong contested performance from the Giants, particularly, it's been my theme today, from centre bounce. And they've been getting the ball inside 50, plenty of tackles inside 50, and they've been hitting the scoreboard. So it's been a really tough day so far for Fremantle. Tig, over to you.
Yeah, look, it's been tough, but they've scored 4 goals up to 3/4, and they only scored the last goal in the last couple of minutes of play itself. So they've been extremely disappointing. It's the way the Giants have been playing for the past 4 weeks of football. Really, their front half turnover football has been elite. Clearly it's very Richmond style. Get the ball in the front half, win it from a stoppage if they get, which is a bit different to Richmond. But their front half stuff, as far as get the ball in the front half, keep it in there. They set the ground up real early in the game, and they're scoring from turnover.
And if you are on punt road, you see a guy with pair of binoculars and a folder running to the MCG. Let Matt Clinch get through. He's just sent me a text. There are no late changes for the Tigers Saints. Hugo Ralph-Smith, the sub for the Tigers, and Cooper Sharman for the Saints. Good luck, Clinchy.
There might be a late change in the box, the commentary box.
GWS lead by 51 points. The Orange Tsunami has been back at Giants Stadium for the first time of the Adam Kingsley era. They have completely overwhelmed Fremantle. Can the Dockers somehow make a game of it in this last quarter? Not if Himmelberg takes marks like that, opposed to Walters at half-back. So getting the Giants going again. He's got a free man in the middle of the ground. That's been the theme. It's Canelio. Possession number 29 for him. He can go looking for Cadman in a pretty dangerous position. Cox tries to slap it away from that area. Hayden Young is there. Cadman and Ryan. Tom Green gets hands on it. Riccardi with 4 goals to his name couldn't pick it up. Good smother from Briggs on his opposing ruckman in Luke Jackson. And now Erasmus is wrapped up. We'll have a ball up inside attacking 50 for the Giants, who lead by 51 points. A minute gone in the last quarter.
Sniffing a goal out, Kieran Briggs. Tell.
Well, he's nudged Jackson under that tap. He battles like he's got the spirit of Mummy in him, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't win the tap, but he made the tackle. It is the Mummy returns. We're getting the sequel here in orange. He's forced a neutral there. He beats Jackson at that tap too. Although Clark's half a chance. He's tackled. Says pull it up once more. Kieran Briggs is there to throw it to the ump. Tossed in the air. Give that one to Jackson. Tapped it down to Brayshaw. Hands it to Ryan. Off a step rush kick to the wing for the Dockers. It beats a couple, but then free kick going the Dockers' way. Schultz applied a tackle on Perryman. Free kick to Lockie Schultz. Looks infield into the bullseye. Clark marks uncontested. He's got Young running on over the man on the mark. Young receives the hand pass. Kicks the Dockers deep into attack. Walters flying from deep. Couldn't take the grab out the back. Amos half a chance. Taylor's with him. Amos gathers. He's tackled by Buckley. Ball spills free. Walters has a go. On hands and knees picks himself up. Not even he can get out of that traffic jam. A bit like Clinchy at the G. The ball goes over the boundary line and will be thrown in the left forward pocket.
I reckon there are some key defenders that would absolutely hate the idea of running back into a goal square onto a loose ball. Would absolutely hate it, but somehow I reckon Sam Taylor loves it.
Jack Buckley doesn't mind it either.
No.
They've scrapped away so well, the Giants, inside their own defensive 50. And this 51-point lead hasn't changed that. Jackson down to Schultz, tries to go boot the ball from 5 metres out to kick a goal for the Dockers. Fails to do so. Taylor clears. It's a bouncing ball just outside defensive 50. Brendan Cox gathers it for Fremantle. Sarong's handball looks for Walker in the corridor. Bounces away from him. Well done by Brown to get head over the football. And now O'Halloran slaps it to Toby Green. He was caught high. Plays on. Handball to Cadman. And now out wide for Canelio. Gets around Switkowski from a standing start. Gives the handball to Tom Green. Backwards to Callan Ward. The Giants are doing as they like. Yeah. It is so easy. It is like a training drill. And now O'Halloran's marked it at half forward. He'll kick from 55 metres.
Yeah, there's no pressure on whatsoever with the ball. They're just basically training drill itself from pressure between the arc. It's non-existent from Fremantle.
Well, we asked the question before the game, Ty. This was a setup with two teams going to teach us a little bit about which is the more likely to really charge to try and get into the bottom of the 8. Well, on today's evidence, there's an emphatic answer, and it's all orange. As O'Halloran beautifully kicks across the half-forward flank. Marked by Ash 48 metres out. That was a 40-metre bullet to a man in a better position, and he chips it to an unmarked Canelio even closer to goal, 40 out.
It's embarrassing. If this is happening to the 16s or 18s that I'm coaching and what's happening right now, they'd be absolutely copying what's happening from the Fremantle Dockers. It's not good enough from a defensive perspective. This is a team that played in the finals. There was a lot of hope and actually to where they were going to go as a football club. This is a disgrace from a football club effort defensively, what we've just seen in the last couple of minutes.
Stephen Canelio has a chance to make the margin 57 points. directly in front, 45 metres out. A son of the West kicks a point to the left for the Giants in Sydney.
It's had a good game, hasn't he?
Sorry, Tyke, Declan.
Just an update on Matt Johnson, who was subbed out for the Dockers with, it ended up being a corked hip, so he's got ice on that one.
And I believe Lockie Whitfield's off with an HIA as well, Declan, so just keep an eye on that.
Well, bereft of options, Luke Ryan just smashes it into the air, hoping for something to happen, and the Giants have won it back again. That sums things up. Buckley with a high ball. It goes inside attacking 50, and marking it is Callum Brown. So we know he's got a launch on him with that right boot. The distance won't trouble him from 50 out. Pretty much straight in front, looking for his second goal.
What I'm getting to with Freo is you don't put the white flag up ever when you're playing a game of AFL football. And that's what they've done. And that's what's most... You're going to lose the game, and clearly they're going to lose the game from half-time on, but they've actually done nothing from an effort or an energy or a hit point of view, which you can control as a footballer. You know, the defensive side of your game or your effort to hit, you're going to lose the game, but their energy has been atrocious.
3 goals last week, Callum Brown. The distance is not even an issue in his mind, and the accuracy isn't either. He's one of the big kicks of the competition right now, and he's got 2 goals to his name, and he might just become a cult hero of GWS, Alicia Eva, if he keeps doing that.
Well, he's had a couple of big games. I think he got the 3 Brownlow votes last year against Hawthorn. Yeah, I think he kicked 4 or something. He's played a lot of footy down back. That's where he's learnt, a lot of the skills and craft of AFL football. But his speed and his strength above his head actually makes him a really versatile player, and obviously his kick, he's finished really well there.
Do you like the golf, Alicia?
I do like golf.
Yeah, it's the unconventional, it's the Scotty Scheffler. It's not conventional, but boy, it goes a long way. You know, Scotty moves his feet, not conventional ways, but boom, we see the track man, it goes miles. And that's a bit like this. As I said, how many Sharons in County Derry you reckon, Tyke?
Yeah, there wouldn't be many. There would not be many at all. It's great to see.
Making a name for himself here. Centre bounce. Briggs again got the tap over Jackson, but Jackson works hard to try and neutralise at ground level. Briggs follows up to and need it to half forward. He's doing it every way to get it forward. Bedford Roves. He kicks from 60 to full forward. Riccardi out the back. Nash Cox under the grab but couldn't complete the mark. Pearce now picks it up and he's tackled. And we'll see a ball up.
Tyke, you spoke about just energy. Fremantle, a minus 25 contested possession, which is a belting.
Stoppage top of the goal square. Again, the ruckman share it. Pearce picks it up for the Dockers. Hand pass to Sarong from the pocket. He kicks the half back and they're out. He's got a target. Banfield takes the grab.
Giants lead by 58 points. It's been a horror show from Fremantle. You wonder what happened during the bye. They were tracking so well for a moment. A loss at home to Richmond last week, and they have been embarrassed here in Western Sydney. Still plenty of time left in the last. Schultz sends it up to half forward. 5 flies. Took a big grab in the first quarter. That was pretty much the highlight of the second quarter. It was the highlight for Fremantle so far. Nat Fyfe's big leap and mark. Since then, it has been poultry.
Well, they lost to St Kilda early. They lost to St Kilda early in the season, round 1. They lost to North Melbourne in round 2 by a point. You know, the start of the season was horrendous, so they've had problems, and it looked like they'd rectified it with that 4-week winning streak. Now the last couple of weeks again, they've dropped right back into it. So there's an inconsistency in their effort and energy, which is something that you shouldn't have to coach at AFL level.
Tom Green spins away from what would be a tackle. They win it back though, Fremantle. Jackson, handball to Sarong. He looks for Sturt though and misses the mark. Lloyd's kick though is a scrappy one, marked again by Luke Jackson, who's had plenty of it despite Briggs having the better of the ruck battle. He finds Erasmus, wants to give the handball, instead has to kick. Spots up a target in Brayshaw, went through his hands, but he's won a free kick, has Andrew Brayshaw. So a chance, one of the Dockers' prime movers, to try and kick their 5th goal of the game. Brayshaw, 25 disposals for him. He's tried hard. The likes of Cornelio and Green and Kelly have dominated this contest in the middle for the Giants. Brayshaw from 40 out, directly in front. Hooks across the face slightly and through Frey behind. Down to Declan Byrne on the boundary.
Yeah, Lockie Whitfield has passed his test, so he's back out here warming up and he'll be back on the ground shortly.
Good work, Declan. Thank you. 57 the difference. 9 minutes played final term. Ash runs beyond the goal mouth. Chips it to Buckley in the pocket. Marks and plays on. Transfers beautifully to the leading Brown. Presented really hard. Marked at half-back. Handballs over the top of the man on the mark. Back to Ash, who'd run on. Ham passes looking for Haynes near the boundary. Gathers it. O'Driscoll's there for company. Haynes keeps it in. O'Driscoll tackles him. Now they raffle up a neutral ball and tangle over the paint. If you're just joining the broadcast, Greater Western Sydney leading by 23 at quarter time, 30 at half time, 51 at three-quarter time, and not so much the margin, but probably, I think, Alicia and Ty, just the manner in which they've gone about their football today, the Giants. They've sort of taken this moment of a standalone game in the outer rim to just announce themselves that they're a different lot, and taken their while to get going under Adam Kingsley, but they might be in the fight for the 8 in 2023 despite being behind the count early in the year. 5:55 from goal at right half forward. Another entry for the Dockers, which comes unstuck. Kicked it to the pocket. It was a bit of a low scummer, and Taylor takes the mark. And now, behind play, Nick Haynes is in trouble.
I think it was in the marking contest. He landed it on his back. I reckon he's just winded. And the umpire's afraid to obviously play on because he's in the area of going long down the line.
He's holding his foot and ankle area, and he is limping.
Well, this will be quite the delay if they're going to... See, I'm not quite sure why you've got a player who's not being stretched off if he's limping off. Why have we stopped the game, Ty?
I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine. Let's go.
Well, let's
right.
Let's play
He's
footy.
Off. Yeah.
Why haven't they called play on now? Left ankle. I mean, he's clearly not in the danger zone. He's clearly no danger to himself or the rest of the game. He's 50 metres away, 100 metres away from the ball, and we haven't restarted play.
Bit of a worry this though, Alicia, because he's been playing really good football this season, Nick Haynes, hasn't he? And
he has.
Want him to be sidelined.
No, and he's played a bit of a different role today. Obviously, the last month he's been battling a few different injuries, but he's played well today on the wing.
Play's back underway, and a 2-on-1 contest against Iden, and he takes the mark. It was Banfield and Henry who couldn't stop him. And Connor Iden has it at right half back for the Giants. Kicks infield, and Ash takes the grab.
Kieran Briggs all by himself in the middle of the ground.
Well called, Alicia.
Ooh.
And he hits him. Just got over the head of 5. Briggs kicks it to the outer wing. Riccardi presents and marks. Just forward of the wing, kicks infield on the 45 to Tom Green. No real pressure on this ball movement. Hand pass back to Riccardi. Chip to the pockets, too wide for Cornelio, and only the errant kick stopping the Giants moving it from the back pocket to the forward pocket untouched, Alicia.
Fremantle just looking really stagnant now. Tig?
Yeah, they have all game, but Lockie Ash is one I want to point out also. It's probably the best game I've seen him play from an offensive point of view. He's brought to the football club. We see Big Briggsy take a great mark.
He's had an outstanding game, Kieran Briggs. Big mark on the wing. Kelly and now Callaghan and Buckley. He tried to do too much on that occasion. Well done by O'Driscoll to win it back for Fremantle. Now Nat Fife chisels one looking for Amos, but Amos slipped over. So Ash picked it up, hit the ground running. Handball into the corridor for Callaghan. Oh, look at this. Look at the space for the Giants. Perryman can guide it looking for Callum Brown. That's Riccardi who comes out and marks it though. Training drills on again, and Riccardi can kick for his 5th.
Guys, just as Jake Riccardi's lining up to take his kick, we've mentioned Kieran Briggs a few times, and I think our discussion earlier before the game, we're talking about footy in Western Sydney. Kieran Briggs is a local product. He's from the GWS Giants Academy. He's from Pennant Hills, played junior footy there. Him playing really good football and consistent footy is a win for the Giants and a win for footy in New South Wales.
Jake Riccardi kicked 2 in the first quarter to set things up. He's now got his 5th for the game, and after a slow start to the season, Jake Riccardi is starting to become a focal point for the GWS Giants, and the lead is now out to 63 points.
Yeah, he's a big plus for the football club, isn't he? He's that big power forward that you rely on. The challenge with Jess Hogan was his inconsistency in his form, but Riccardi now looks like he's building a real strong block of football as a key forward that's presenting, looking strong in the air and is finishing. And a great ball use from Perryman.
Declan on the boundary.
And the first ever 5 goals for Riccardi in his career. Ryan Angwin comes on as well for the Giants, the sub, and unsurprisingly, Nick Hay moves to the back. He's taking his shoe off that left ankle, getting a bit of a look up.
So Haynes subbed out and Angwin coming in. Thank you, Declan Byrne on the boundary. Almost 14 minutes played in this final term, 63 points at the margin now. And The Dockers were absolutely jubilant going to the bye off the back of a win over the D's at the MCG, but the fortnight back in action has been pretty horrible for them. Fife wins the clearance, though, from this centre bounce. Long, wide kick to left half forward, now to play. Yeah, so 6 and 5, going to the break, just beating the D's at the G, and then you start off the bye losing to Richmond at home, and then going to Western Sydney, and at the moment, it's 10 goals plus the margin.
And do you think Jake Riccardi enjoys playing the Dockers? Kicked 4 against them in round 14, 2020. That was his second biggest haul before today. Now he's got 5.
Boundary throw and right half forward. Brayshaw with the clearance. Hand pass to Erasmus. Hand pass to Walters. Fell over, picked himself up, ducked his head into the tackle of Kelly and is holding the ball. And Kelly is another one of the stories of the day for the Giants, coming back into the team. Chips infield on the 45 to Whitfield, who marks it. He kicks it to Ash. Marks still inside defensive 50.
Tom Green's the other one that consistently does it now, and is a young bloke, and it wouldn't surprise me if that bloke won a Brownlow medal, the way he plays, and he's consistent in the way he plays. Tom Green, that is.
Ball transferred to right half back. Buckley marks, kicks to the wing. There's a contest. Ball on the deck, won by Clark of the Dockers. Hand pass to Henry, who kicks it around the boundary, where Schultz takes the grab in front of the interchange gates. And Lockie Schultz kicks infield. It works, marked by Brayshaw. Hand pass to the running Clark from 80. He drives it to full forward. Amos the target out the back. Spoiled away by Buckley. And coming through Whitfield. He's tackled. And the ump says, holding the ball. Great clamp from Sturt. And Whitfield did take a step, and Sturt was too good. And this should be a rare goal for the Dockers. A rare good moment for them. He'll have the shot from 15 metres out at the top of the goal square.
I think it's the first forward 50 tackle for the game.
And Sturt looking to become the Dockers' first multiple contributor in front of goal for the evening. A late in for the injured Frederick. He slams it through for his second. And of little consolation, it does at least get the margin underneath 10 goals for the time being. 57 the diff at 14-8-92 to 5-5-35.
Yeah, the Giants have 17 tackles inside the forward 50 and Fremantle 4, so there's a huge difference in itself, and it's a hunger and the appetite from your forward line to actually try and keep the ball in there, get after the opposition defenders. When it looked like in that game, in periods in the game when the Giants defenders were struggling, when Freo in the first quarter and a half were getting the ball inside the forward line and looking dangerous, but just didn't have an opportunity to try and keep it in there.
Not sure who's doing the votes, Tiger or Alicia, but good luck. How do you fit Canelio, Kelly, Green, Briggs, Riccardi and Toby Green into the 3?
I handball that to Tiger.
That's going to be interesting.
I'll give you 1 too. I'm very good at them.
Canelio 31 disposals, Tom Green 30, Josh Kelly 27, Briggs has bossed the ruck, Riccardi has 5 goals, Toby Green has 4. Picked up by Erasmus in the middle of the ground for the Dockers, out to half forward. Whitfield's there though, darts away. This is problematic for Freo again. The handball finds Angwin the sub. He's caught. And the Dockers can win it back. Erasmus to Liam Henry on his left, kicks to half forward, but that is straight to Harry Himmelberg. And the Giants, who lead by 57 points, have it at half-back.
Himmelberg's hand pass sets a task of Perryman. He has to tow it off the ground. Not to great effect. Sturt picks up for the Dockers. That was messy. Sturt harassed by Iden, who won the ball and got a hand pass to Kelly. Giants get out of it anyway. Kelly's hand pass taken by Callahan at half-back. He's kicked to the wing. Wasn't a great one, but Brown made good of it. Doing everything right, Callum Brown. Right on the logo. Chips it to half forward. Hits Kelly just beyond his range. Plays on no one on the man. 40 from goal. Bedford takes an uncontested mark. 40 metres out. Boy, oh boy. And that's the kind of stuff I think that you're getting at, Ty. Yeah. Nodding your head. That's late in the game. And where's the pride in running it out here?
Yeah, the lack of care to defend and help your team outside. They just cut them off by foot, and the patience. And Fremantle got absolutely nowhere near their opponent. Any opponent in that case.
Making a new home here in the west of Sydney, former Demon Toby Bedford gives it everything he's got with his right boot from 50. Won't have the distance. Comes to deck in the pocket and marked by Cox, who did well. The Dockers defender to read the drop and take the clean grab.
He's been solid for them down back, Brennan Cox. He always gives his all. Up to the wing, and that's a good mark by Fife. Not paid, though, according to the umpire. He had 2 bites at the cherry. And the umpire says It was too much of a touch from someone else. So, ball up. Just outside attacking 50 for the Giants. Fife took a hanger in the second quarter. That was the highlight of the game. Here's Toby Green. It's around a couple of Dockers. Gives it to Callan Ward. High ball. Cox punches it away. It falls to Sarong. Sweeping handball out to O'Driscoll, but he's mowed down by Cornelio. And we'll have a ball up inside 50 for the Giants. Well, while the Dockers waved the white flag at one end, the Giants are playing this out despite the margin with a lot of pride at the other.
Cornelius tackle like a red rag to a bull, Garby. From the stoppage, Fife bumped off it, but it fell into the hands of Clark. A terrible clearing kick. Marked by Callahan. He's 55 from goal, Finn Callahan. He's not going to go for goal, but again, he can find a target unmarked inside 50. Riccardi grabs it. 45 degrees to the left. 50 metres out. Looking for a sixth. No, he won't go for goal.
Kick it and you get the 3 votes.
Hey, what about Kelly?
He's going to get the 3 votes.
He kicked it to Kelly. Kelly's taken the mark. Can he get the 3 votes with this kick? So what's his return been, Garby?
29 disposals, 15 of them contested, 13 ground ball gets, 7 clearances, 5 inside 50s, 6 score involvements and 1 goal.
To date, looking for a second. Oh, yes! Oh, yes! What a giant party this is for the Orange. It's gone beyond a good run into the bye, although, dare we place it with the caveat of what did the Dockers do a couple of weeks ago. Perfect way to go to the rest before heading to Alice to take on the Demons. Giants are pumping him. 63 back out to the margin. Kelly has 2. 15-8, 98 to 5-5, 35. But we put the caveat on it, but we've been waiting to see what do the Giants under Adam Kingsley look like. And you guys have had front row seats. My first sight of them in the flesh, and holy dooly, if this half year's work, wait until they get a bit more into them.
It's a forward half turnover game, and I think today has just been everything's clicking: offense, contest, defense.
Renault lead by 63 and Briggs wins it out of the middle again and snaps the Giants deep into attack. Pearce cuts across, can't mark. O'Halloran's there. They all want to get on the scoreboard now if they haven't already, or to add to their tally. And the energy is still up. Strong tackle from O'Halloran. We'll have a ball up inside attacking 50 again. The inside 50, 63 to GWS, 42 to Fremantle, 63 points the Giants lead by.
That's way too easy for centre bounce from the ruckman. Briggs getting that clearance.
Toby Green from the stoppage kick is semi-smothered. O'Driscoll rushes it clear from fullback for the Dockers. Out towards the boundary line, it rolls out of play. And the ump says insufficient intent, my word. Erasmus was maybe 2 metres away from it as the ball went out of play. And it's going to be a free kick to Callahan.
Wouldn't surprise me if he's kicked it on his non-preferred side as a left footer here, stuck up against the fence just inside the arc.
Look at the supporters coming down.
It's great. He's got the ability to kick this kid.
He starts literally a metre away from those kids leaning over the fence at left half forward. Doesn't go for goal, sets it up for the Flyers. Cadman couldn't mark. Brown roves, hand pass to Kelly, snap another! Kelly's got 3 goals and maybe votes as well. 69, call off the fight. 16-8, 104, 104 for the Giants. Fremantle, 5-5, 35.
No one could see this coming. You know, if you're trying to pick the game, we said it was a tipster's nightmare before the game started, you know.
And you nearly flipped when Jesse Hogan was a laid out.
That's right. Well, I didn't. I was sticking strong. Garby wasn't so confident, but
it's radio and there are no pictures, but everyone can see you lying there, Tommy.
You saw my face, yes. But it's a package game for the Giants. They've spent and been lucky enough to spend some time in the football club during the pre-season. They're working hard on the defensive side of their game, and they clearly came to work on that orange tsunami, the run from half-back on turnover in the first quarter, and in the front half possession game. It's been a joy to watch the package game from the Giants.
We've spoken about the Adam Kingsley era, one of the best performances since he joined the club. One of the darkest days of the Justin Longmuir era for Fremantle, which has been so encouraging up to this point. Here's Caleb Sarong at centre half forward. He looks for Banfield in the pocket. It's punched away from him by Lockie Ash, who's had another really good game in orange. I mean, the win against Geelong's clearly the best of the season, Alicia, but this surely is the best all-round performance from a footballing sense.
Yeah, they're just dominant in every stat of the game. So I'll let you call this.
Dockers throw in. Jackson has done his bit, though, against Briggs. That has been a really good battle. Couldn't pick up there. Kelly does, again for the Giants in the back pocket. Kicks it to half-back, off the pack. It's met by Callahan. His hand pass is poor, picked up by the Dockers. Oh, poor old Schultz, he slipped over. I thought that he wasn't going to get a free kick. His stops went through the turf and Cal Ward accidentally got him high, but that's still a free kick to Lockie Schultz. He was trying to step his way through, but slipped, got high contact, didn't have a shot at goal. A reminder, we're heading off to the MCG next for Richmond versus St Kilda. If you are listening to us through news radio in Sydney and Canberra, of course, ABC Listen app, no matter where you're listening to us, all the games now, look for the red and blue AFL button on the ABC Listen app. Schultz coming in for goal from 45 out directly in front. He's pushed it across to the right and it's just squeezed through for a behind. 68 the difference at 16-8, 104 to 5, 6:36.
Whitfield short to Himmelberg. Hogan went out. The thought was Himmelberg would go forward, but Lockie Keefe did that job instead. They like Himmelberg down back for the Wayne Witchy. Uses the ball out of there. And they've done that with ease. In this one, the Giants leading by 68 points. Whitfield, who is one of the stories to come out of this game for a rough conduct charge potentially on Jordan Clark, that left Clark dazed, one of the talking point tackles of the AFL at the moment. More said about that during the week. Here's Himmelberg again from centre halfback. Launches it to half forward. Briggs is underneath it. Can't mark it. Riccardi with 5 goals to his name. Kicks to the pocket. Wants to spot up Cadman, who hasn't had much of it today, just for a bit of a confidence booster for him late in the contest, but it's out for a boundary throw-in.
The other thing, when you talk about Giants' brand this year, it's not just forward half turnovers, but Adam Kingsley's been very vocal about it being a system. So it's not heavily reliant on 1 or 2 stars getting going every week. It's a system.
Boundary thrown and Jackson wins the tap to Brayshaw. Hand pass too hot for Young. Stolen on the ricochet by Kelly of the Giants. Hands it to Lloyd. Lloyd kicks it to Brown. Go back and have a shot. Oh, he was going to dish off. No, go back and have a shot. Even his teammates are saying, and the crowd saying, have a shot, man. Have a shot. And he will.
Lockie Keefe just come in and said, would you just calm down, Callan? You can kick it 75 metres without even trying.
He's going to be kicking from the 50. It's like it's like 20 old for everybody else.
He could almost kick a conversion at the Olympic Stadium from here. And here we are at the adjoining Sydney Showground. 40 metres out. Brown on that right boot. Bang! Oh, into the post. And it's swaying in the breeze. Not quite snapped in half like Lee Matthews did all those years ago, but it's a point. 69 the diff.
Cox to Luke Ryan. The fallout from this could be fierce from Fremantle coach Justin Longmuir. They really have, it seems, given up at times in this second half. Cox out to half-back, off the hands of Cadman. It'll come back in because Perryman's picked it up. Keefe snaps it with the outside of his right. Into attacking 50. O'Halloran's there. Pearce is able to gather for the Dockers. Handball to Erasmus. He's spun in the tackle and now dishes it up to Callahan. He's caught just as he was about to dispose of the ball, so it's out of bounds on the full as a result. GWS 69-105, thumping the Dockers, who are 5-6-36 by 69 points. We're not far away from the full-time siren.
And a rest for the Giants before they go to Alice, should I say, to Alice to play the Demons. Dockers go home to take on Essendon next week. Ball's on the outer wing. In the hands of Brayshaw of the Dockers. He's harassed out of play by Ash. Now, things can change so quickly in footy. And perhaps the immediate, as I said, caveat or calming tonic of the result for the Dockers here, for the Giants, should I say. The Dockers did this just before the bye. Big win at the G over the Demons. Yeah. Haven't fired a shot since, but boy, it's been an impressive day for Greater Western Sydney today. From the stoppage on the wing, clearance to Whitfield, kicks to half forward, marked by O'Halloran, kicks it to Lloyd. Lloyd marks 40 out straight in front. But I think the thing about this that's different, Tig and Alicia, we keep harping on about it. We've had a couple of years to see what Justin Longmuir was doing to the Dockers. We're learning about this new Giants. And this, well, certainly on today's evidence, it's not only effective, but it's been entertaining. Really, really good-looking brand of footy. Dan Lloyd's already got one, straight in front, 45 out. He hits it with his right. He's missed it to the left. And the margin is 68 at 16-10, 106 to 5-6-36.
And King has wanted to do that, when he came into the football club, got the team excited about how to play the game again and play. The personnel hasn't changed that much since obviously Leon was coaching the football team. So it's a style of play that got him excited about how to play, and it's a new change, new voice, and the players have bought into it.
And there are new cult heroes like Kieran Briggs, who's just marked the kick in from Brennan Cox. The big man's been brilliant again. Sends the Giants deep into attack again through the hands of Cadman. The Orange Tsunami is back in Greater Western Sydney. 70-point winners over the Dockers. 16-10, 106. Fremantle, 5-6-36.
The west of the town, it's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the Greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
And they grew their lead at every quarter turn. 23 points the lead at quarter time, 30 points the lead at half time, 51 points the lead at three-quarter time, and in the final quarter the Giants kicked 4 goals 3 to the Jockers 1 goal 2. Dockers have lost their 2 games since the bye. They're 6 and 7. The Giants go to the bye 6 and 8, and in 2 teams tightly packed in this season of 2023, it's the Giants making the statement.
From the west of the town, it's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. Take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the Greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest.
8,633 in at the showground to see it. 16-10, 106 to 5-6-36. A career best 5 goals for Jake Riccardi. Toby Green kicked 4 and in doing so passed the 300 career goal mark. Josh Kelly kicked 3 goals. Callum Brown kicked 2 goals. A goal to Lockie Whitfield, Dan Lloyd as well. For the Dockers, 2 for Sam Sturt and singles for Caleb Sarong, Nat 5 and Michael Walters. What a performance. Ty Kennelly and Alicia Eva will speak through it for you. We're on our way to the MCG for Richmond and St Kilda as well. We'll have time to get down to Declan in the rooms, hopefully before that point. But Ty, Alicia, well, there's the margin, there's the timing of it, but just it's the style. They get style points as well today. I reckon they've covered all bases.
Yeah, it was a complete performance. So it was a complete performance from the way they want to play from a front half territory, from a contest point of view, and from a ball movement turnover point of view. In the back half, they just went aggressive at free off from the Doco. The first 4 goals of the game were off turnover in the back half and went straight through the middle of the ground with fast ball movement and wanted to take the game on. The Giants are as exciting as I've seen them play for a long time. It's the best they've played. Complete performance this year, and truly it's been coming as far as building different parts of their game. King has come in and he worked on the defensive side of their game, and last year when you look at the Giants playing, they were playing stiff and kick mark and a bit slow, and that's even on the spike, and I think it's just a different voice, different game plan. Certainly can refresh the group, and now it takes time to learn it, obviously, and that's what happened with your inconsistency in games and putting patches of football together. But clearly Geelong win 2 weeks ago, and this wins a complete game of football for me as far as how the Giants play their football.
Yeah, good assessment, Tig. I think just so many statistical areas where the Giants just dominated. Kieran Briggs, we're seeing on the screen right now, he had another dominant game. Just looking at clearances to begin with, centre bounce, and I mentioned Fremantle have been number one in that area, or scores from centre bounce in the last month. So that's when they've been playing pretty good footy. Fremantle got absolutely spanked by the Giants in that area today, 16-6, and a lot of it goes to the good work of Kieran Briggs. They were plus 10 clearances around the ground, plus 24 contested possessions. So they were winning it at the coalface. I don't have the stat for scores from turnover, but from the first quarter, you could see that as soon as the Giants turned it over, whether it was in the defensive half or in the forward half, they were just scoring off the back of it. There was a clear plan that on turnover, the Giants wanted to go quick. And it just didn't give Fremantle any time to set up defensively. It looked a bit chaotic for Fremantle down back, and it led to multiple different goal scorers for the Giants. So at the start of the game, we were umming and ahhing about what the late out of Jesse Hogan would do to the Giants' scoring opportunities. It didn't seem to affect them. Multiple goal scorers. Jake Riccardi pops up, kicks 5. Toby kicks 4. I think Jeremy Layla, the Giants forwards coach, would be particularly pleased with also the 19 forward 50 tackles, which is a massive number.
Well, Dockers fans are scratching their heads with this result. What can you tell them, Alicia and Tig?
Don't ever put the white flag up in a game of football for your football club. It was clear as day halfway through the third quarter. Their effort and their intensity just dropped. They're on the ball, the contest walk. You got to look at your ruckman straight away. When you're looking, your ruckman's getting beaten more. Dig in. You're on a big contract. You come over here over the Freo with some big hopes and a big weight on your shoulders. Well, you got to back it up, mate. I'm sorry. There's a reason we bring you to a football club. When you don't do it as a ruckman, well, it's hard for your own bowlers to be predictable because they got dated, and Briggs absolutely dated him. His contest work was outstanding. His follow-up work was great, and it's not good enough from your ruckman and someone on a big-ended contract. You got to put your hand up and say, look, mate, look in between your eye and say it's not good enough and your team needed you. And that's the piece you start with as a ruckman. You're so valuable in the game right now, and they've always been. But when you're on a big contract and you're coming from the other side of the country, there's expectations and there's standards that you need to play for your football club, and you just didn't do it. And I can put up with not getting marks and kicks around the ball, but I can't put up with your effort and getting bullied in the contest itself. Some of the centre bounce stuff was atrocious from him, and Briggs' ability to win clearances from centre bounces as a ruckman is the hardest part to take when you want a big strong ruckman there to actually put some body work into him. It's hard then when you got your midfielders and Sarong and Fife and whatnot, Brayshaw trying to get the ball when your ruckman's not doing it for you. So I'd start right there with my ruckman and looking between the eyes on Monday morning.
At centre bounce, it's a 50-50 ball game. I've brought in the 6-6-6 rule. There's no advantage to either side. It just comes down to that contest, essentially, and who's getting territory from that contest. And we were talking about it all evening about the Giants' domination in that space, and Ty's just spoken about the ruckman, but should they have done something differently? Should we have seen different personnel in there? Do you play around with who starts at centre bounce and who just, if they're not winning the footy, they're laying tackles? Brayshaw still has had 29 and has had a big day. Sarong has had 32. Looking at tackle numbers, Sarong's only had the one tackle. For me, as a player that's around the footy and around the contest, he's definitely got his hands on it, but you want to see those numbers go up because I just think, the work rate at the contest just wasn't good enough on the day.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? There will be quite the dissection on this one because we came here thinking, hard one to tip, we'll learn something today, and, we might have to split hairs on what we've learned. Well, I don't think we leave with that feeling at all. We sort of think that, the momentum for Mummy 2 continues to grow, Kieran Briggs, and then we know of the class of Kelly, but it's not just that. It's the way that Jesse Hogan goes out of the team, and they still, on that ball use today, they look effective with, Toby's still doing what Toby does underneath, but Jake Riccardi kicks 5. Callum Brown's popping up and kicking a couple and getting a few more opportunities as well. There's... And just even doing the numbers, there's still a core of 7 or 8 absolute stars and nearing 200 games or thereabout for the Giants, but they've got some youth sprinkled among it, and some hard heads now. Himmelberg's down back. This is a structure that might just hold up beyond today, even though they played an opponent who raised the white flag a little.
Oh, they're 24 points now. They're on the verge of the 8th. They're there sitting there with Geelong. So they're every right to keep pushing.
And you can hear it in the rooms down to Declan.
Yeah, the players making their way in and very excited, and a full home change room. I reckon 60 or 70 family and friends are here. A couple ex-players. I can see Matt DeBoer in there. Jimmy Bartell as well. His orange hat on is down here. And the Giants are loving it as they circle up. Plenty of high fives as well from all the players in the VFL. And Adam Kingsley smiling in the corner as well. Here they go.
Stay close, Declan. We've only got about 5 minutes before the majority of our team, our listeners, go to the MCG to pick up the team there. And look, it's Garvey, Tybal, it's the nature of what we do. When you get the standalone game and there are less games, we tend to, and we being the broader footy media, analyse things a little bit bigger when there's nothing else to talk about. And this is the opportunity, because the Giants so often don't really get that chance to be in the spotlight, but certainly with less games and by themselves in a standalone game today, they will certainly be looking at this. Back down to you, Declan.
Yeah, we're joined by Jake Riccardi down here. Felt like the best game for the Giants this year. The Geelong game is obviously amazing, but you demolished them. That was clinical.
Yeah, definitely. I think you said it well. Like, we just... You never expect to do that in the game. You always come there fine. I think the first quarter really set the tone, pressure, getting at him. And King was massive about that during the week to make sure we have a good start, because I reckon lately we've just been folding out, 10 goals, but tonight we're just on from the get-go, and I reckon that set the tone for the rest of the night for us.
And 5 goals for you, first 5 in your career. How do you feel?
Yeah, good. I reckon I knew my biggest bag before that was 4, so I was like, let's just get one more and make it the biggest. So, yeah, that was nice, kick 5, get on the end of a few.
And who impressed for you today on your team? Who stood out?
Yeah, well, it's hard to go past the big man at the moment, big Brigger. He's just taken out of the ruck, playing with that much confidence, and we all feed off it, so he's been awesome. And then, I don't know, I just look, obviously when you win by that much, you always think the front half, but I think all the backs, they were unbelievable. We just got every chance. They were just closing out every exit. Connor Ryden, Jack Buckley, they were awesome, just up their defenders all day, and they just made it really easy for us forward, so definitely them boys.
Let's head upstairs. A few questions from the team in the box.
Jake, Daniel Garb here. Congratulations on your game. You set it up early with 2 early goals and then capped it off to reach 5. The start of your season was a little bit patchy and you dropped out of the team and Aaron Cadman got to go. Your last month has been excellent. What's clicked? What's changed for you?
Oh, to be honest, I think going out of the side, I've obviously been dropped before, but this time, King has a few kind words to me and just said, mate, this is as simple as it is. You just got to do these couple of things, attack the ball in the air as much as you can, create a contest, and then don't worry about everything else. It'll take care of itself. And I think those great words from him set me up, and I think it was before the Geelong game that happened, and ever since that, I feel like I've been attacking games with a lot more confidence and a lot more aggression, which is what he wanted. So definitely a little chat with him sparked me, and he's helped me a lot this year so far, so definitely that.
And the overall game, and we set it up here in the box, this feels like the brand of football that Adam Kingsley wants you to play. We said numerous times the Orange Tsunami is back. Did it feel like that on the ground, and did you feel as though it wasn't far away from clicking?
Yeah, definitely, and I think how you said it, if you guys were watching up in the box and saying that, when I was playing forward, I just felt like as soon as the ball left our forward 50, there was just 3-4 blokes just charging in, just wanted to hit bodies and put pressure on them, and that's what King is massive on, just getting in, being physical and being the aggressors. And I just, you guys said it, you saw it up in the box, I definitely saw it down on the ground. It did look like that. We were just all over it and just coming forward to hit and hurt, and I think all the boys did that excellent tonight.
It's Quentin Hull here. Jake, well played. You got a rest. what are you doing for the break before you head to Alice?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a spew. When you have a win like that, you want to keep going and playing again. So, I'll head up to Queensland with Missy just for a couple of days and just relax. I think we've got a bit of a lunch tomorrow with all the boys down at Bronte. Have a few drinks together, have a nice lunch, and then have a couple of days off. So it'll be nice to recharge. But yeah, then we'll head over to Alice Springs and attack the D's. Yeah,
interesting. Obviously, the Dockers were on a high just before the break. Everyone's talking about the effect that a bye has one way or the other. So, what's the break/footy program mix for you guys?
Yeah, well, so I think tomorrow obviously day off, but then Monday, Tuesday back at the club, and then we'll have 3-4 days off. But I think obviously it's not a time to just go 3-4 days off and do nothing. You obviously want to get your rest and reset because that's also very important. But just maybe 1 or 2 running sessions a week, just do whatever it is just to keep fresh. And yeah, I think once we come back in that week of preparation, we've got to make sure we just nail it and don't roll in from the bye and just think, we've had 1-2 in a row now and just let it happen. We've got to make sure we put the foot on the throat with everything and just attack preparation and just get ready for the D's. They're a great team, obviously, coming with a big win against the Pies.
Yeah, well played, Jake. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Jake Riccardi with 5 goals. We are on the fly for a lot of you to the MCG. So quick votes, Tig, if you could, please, on the Giants' 70-point win.
Yeah, well, that's a difficult one. There was probably 5 or 6. 16, in fact. Probably could have got the votes tonight or today, but that guy we just spoke to, Riccardi, I'm going to give him the 1 vote with 5 goals, 2 8-score involvements, and he's attacking the ball. He looked really sharp early too in the piece. He looked very dangerous. So he's the 1 vote.
20 seconds.
2 votes, Briggs, for his effort and his ability to get the ball around to give first use, and 3 votes gone to Josh Kelly. 33 disposals, 14 ground balls, 8 clearances, 3 goals, and Cornelio and Tom Green and Toby Green a bit stiff.
Thank you. Here's the MCG.